Hello, good evening, and welcome to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott, and with me is the TV's Nick Wealthall. I can't even get your name right. I'm so excited to be sat beside you.
It's pretty exciting, even for me. Good evening.
Good evening. Right, now this is Poker Night Live.
Yes.
If you are new to the show, well then you don't know how it works, but we are here for the next 4 hours. We're bringing you lots and lots of great poker. Now, it's all online poker being played in real time by real players for real money. We're going to take a look at a range of different Texas Hold'em games so that you can take a look at the different types. And we're here not just for your entertainment, mind you, although it will be entertaining.
As if that wasn't enough.
Exactly.
As if that wasn't enough.
What else are we here for?
Education, Kara.
That's the word.
We're here to give back, to make you better players.
Ah, yes. That is indeed the way that this will happen. Now, we're going to be watching some games. Nick is the expert here tonight. He will be commentating on the games. And also, and this is where you come into it, because it's an interactive program, you can send us in your questions and your comments.
Please do.
Yes, please do.
Please do, by the hatful.
Big hats.
Yeah, send them in hats.
Really big hatfuls, and we'll wear them. No, we won't. But there you go. Text poker and your question to 84222. Or if you've got a longer question, you can send it in by email. Email the expert, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And they can be questions about your own game, general strategy, home games even. There's a lot more interesting home games going on at the moment among some of our regular viewers.
And say my usual thing at this point, which is please don't worry however basic the question is. This is beginner's night.
Yes.
And we know that new people are picking up poker every day, and we know that we have new viewers to the show every day. Welcome aboard. Do get in touch, even if you don't understand the basics. That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. Ping us an email.
Yeah, do, definitely. And saying hello as well to our viewers in the Scandinavian countries, I believe the Baltic states and Germany as well, and all over the world. Anyone out there watching via the internet, and my mom. Hi, how you doing? And your mum as well. Now,
hello, mums.
Hello, mums. We hope to make you proud. Now, let's take a look around the tables and see what sort of poker we have this evening for the good people at home.
Exciting poker, Kara.
Is it?
Yes, it's No Limit Hold'em, the most exciting poker of all.
Ah.
And this is a $2 tournament. Which, you know, it's probably not going to change your life. Mm-hmm. Unless your life is rubbish, but it's still exciting.
What are you trying to say? The first time I won a $2 tournament, I was well excited. It changed my life.
That's what I'm saying.
No. Ouch.
Oh, zinger.
Oh.
That was a $20 tournament. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a cash game, different to a tournament. We'll tell you all about that later on. 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. Still No Limit Hold'em. No Limit Hold'em, the game where you can go broke or double your money on any hand. And this is very exciting. This is one of the most valuable tournaments that we show on Poker Night Live because there's $2,000 added. $2,000 of free money in there. I can't believe there isn't a person in the country with a computer that isn't playing it. It's free money.
I'd be playing it if I was at home right now, I'll tell you.
Good God.
Good God.
So we'll be looking at the multi-table tournaments throughout the night, and then we'll show you as much of the final table as we can, won't we, Kara?
This is true. Now, there are 32 places paid in that, so there's quite a lot of jockeying for position, is what I'm thinking.
A lot of winners. A lot of winners.
Everyone's a winner here on Poker Night Live, because...
except the people that go bust.
Yeah, but still, they get all that information, all that great commentary on their game from you.
Knowledge is their reward.
Yeah.
Can't take it to the bank, but...
No, and that knowledge and that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling that you get.
That's right.
And you will.
You will.
Depending on how much coffee you have,
yeah,
you definitely will.
We're feeling quite good, aren't we? We're quite effusive, we're quite generous.
Yeah.
So there will be a lot of compliments tonight. Email in, you'll get one, I promise.
You probably will as well. We're feeling very generous. Yeah. Now, let's take a look at one of our games. Where should we go first? What are you feeling like?
Well, we had a $20 tournament that was just starting there, Kara. I'd like to take a look at that, if I may.
Quite fancy that myself. Let's take a look.
You're going to be playing poker as well tonight, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing.
I tell you what, the mood you're in, you're either going to win or you're going to go broke in about 4 hands. I only see 2 outcomes.
I know. It's going to be either tears of joy or tears of pain.
Guys, you want to stay tuned because it's going to be entertaining.
I am feeling a wee bit on the hyper side tonight. I think I might have just had too much coffee already.
And relax.
And breathe.
So here's our $20 tournament, and the early going. 8 players still remain. Look at me commentating. We've only just started as well.
Amazing.
You usually have to force me to do that,
I
don't
do.
you?
But I think my silence did that.
Yeah. That was it. And for those of you that are new to the show or new to poker, this is a one-table tournament. So these 8 players are all in the tournament. They've all paid $20, and in return for that $20, they get some tournament chips. The amount of tournament chips currently in their possession even, is in front of them. And there's no limit hold'em, so they can bet any amount of those chips any time, no limit to their bets. And that makes it the most exciting form of poker you can play. Also the most scary, often described as hours of boredom, moments of terror. Have you not heard that before?
No, I like it though.
That's good, isn't it?
That's very good.
It's like a date. The way it works is, it's kind of like a last man standing kind of a deal, because players will get knocked out, and the last 3 remaining players will share up the prize pool. That's made up of the buy-ins. We've got $20 buy-ins, 8 times, so we've got $160 in the prize pool.
Right.
The last man standing, who will end up with all of the chips on the table, gets half of that. He gets $80.
Very nice.
Very nice. Second place gets 30%, which is less than 80. And the third place gets 20%, which is slightly less than that. You'd think I'd have learnt those splits.
I know. It's
I've
30-20,
only been on the show for a year. How could I possibly be expected to know
I know.
the numbers
You
involved?
should have people who do that for you.
Well, you'd think, wouldn't
You
you?
would think so. We have some of our regular players there, El Pig and Aunt Sally. Interesting to watch some of the regular players, and then you think you learn their game by watching them over and over again, and you go up against them, and I still have no idea what they're doing
Well,
sometimes.
this is, I think, this is one of the interesting things. There was, when they first started televising poker, there was a resistance among professionals to play. When they started late night poker on Channel 4 many years ago now, they actually had a hard time filling the series, that's true, because people didn't want to play on TV.
I can see why.
Well, yeah, but the bottom line is what you've just said, which is there's a big difference between watching somebody and thinking you know what they're doing and actually going up against them and knowing what they're doing in the moment. It's completely different. We've got a straight here for Doltoffen. Never mind. Never mind, it's obvious he's got the straight, isn't it? Do you remember Timothy Dalton? He played the Bond in about...
Do I remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember Sean Connery's quote about him?
What?
I hope he's got a good lawyer. He was asked about whether he's not he's a good Bond. He meant he hopes he's making a lot of money because he won't be around for very long. That's what he meant.
You say that like I didn't know what you meant.
Well, I thought I communicated it pretty badly, to be honest.
Oh, I see.
Look, Kara, a golden panda.
I know.
Imagine that.
Just imagine that, a golden panda. Right, now this, as we've said, is a single table tournament. You just started to sort of do the nuts and bolts, really, of the whole Texas Hold'em game.
Yeah.
You went through the buy-ins.
I think I covered it, didn't I?
Well, you generally did. That's a good beginning bit.
Yeah.
We got the buy-ins, we've got the places paid and all that. Now, how do we play this game?
Okay, I'm sure regular viewers will stick with us and enjoy the poker in the background while we just quickly run through how to play this game for our new viewers. Obviously, oh, look at that. Aunt Sally's hit 2 pair to outrun Chairboy's 1 pair. And Chairboy would do well not to lose quite a lot of chips in this hand because it looks like a very good situation for him. We know it's not. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Aunt Sally should have bet at the end there, by the way. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. All the games we show on Poker Live, No Limit Hold'em. And the way that game works is that you get 2 cards initially, and then there are a series of betting rounds, 4 in total, and you end up with 5 cards across the middle, known as community cards, because they're accessible to all the players, which you coordinate with the 2 cards in front of you to make the best
5-card hand.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
There's my input.
Cooking with gas.
Yes, we are.
Whatever that means. That is not the only way to win. There are 2 ways to win in poker, which is what makes this game unique. You can either have the best hand when all the betting is said and done, or you can make a bet which none of the other players equals. And the beauty of that is it doesn't matter what cards you have. This is where things like bluffing come into play. And it does make poker unique in the world of games because basically you're winning without the best score, which is what makes it so exciting.
This is true.
I know if people have watched this show for a long time, they'll have heard this many, many times, but it is literally the equivalent of losing at football 3-0, telling the other team that you actually won 4-3, and the other team go, yeah, all right, you can have the points. That's what it's the equivalent of. And it's unique in games. As we just saw there, Dolt often made a bet. The other players didn't want to equal, and he won the hand, and he didn't have to show his cards. He gets the chips in the middle. Hooray, Yahtzee, back of the net, winners.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada
like
bing. Yeah.
Bada bing.
So in poker, we're either trying to do one of two things. We're either trying to build the best hand, or we're trying to make an aggressive bet that other players will not want to equal. And it's important that we're trying to do both those things when we play. If we're only trying to make the best hand, then we're not taking advantage of all the ways to win in the game.
Right.
Which is why poker lends itself to an aggressive style. And beginning players are often not aggressive enough. Interestingly.
I know, this is something you were saying to me before the show, actually. That
Not that we talk about poker in our free time.
No, because that would just be sad.
That would be sad.
Yeah. So at that other point in history where you were talking to me about poker,
Yes.
You said that there does come a point in sort of a beginner's poker life when they've got to make that next step up to learning how to play more aggressively in the later stages of a tournament. It's all well and good having, fantastic starting standards, being, very tight and aggressive, and but there is a time does come when you need to learn how to change gears, and that's where, say, a tournament, it's quite different from a cash game as well, because you've got the blinds going up, which is what forces you into making decisions that you wouldn't do in the beginning of a tournament.
Yeah, this tournament they're watching here, the one thing I didn't say when I was talking about the tournament at the start of our coverage was that the blinds go up every 10 hands, right?
I believe so.
And they double every 10 hands, and that forces the action. That means we'll have a result to this tournament in 30 or 40 minutes. Just to go back to basics briefly, the blinds are forced bets, involuntary bets, that are made before the players have any cards. And they're made by two players each hand. It goes around the table, so it's all fair. Everybody gets to post the same amount of blinds. And they're the two people to the left of the dealer button, which is currently under in front of Charwell, that D you can see there. So yeah, because the blinds go up, you can't just sit and wait for the best hand in a tournament, because it may never arrive and the blinds may eat you away. And I think basically learning the game, for most players, is a progression of going from learning how to play with cards to learning how to play without the cards. You basically need to learn the value of the cards, when not to play, what good cards are. And then once you've learned that, you add on top of that the ability to take hands that you don't have any right to win based on your cards. Yeah, and it can be, it depends on your personality and the way that you are and the way that you play, but it can be something you have to force initially, being aggressive. Some people it comes naturally to, and other people you need to force yourself to do it a little bit.
I found when you were sort of tutoring me in beginning bits of poker, learning how to play the very early stages, that naturally I'm a very aggressive person, I think. And this is something that we discussed, very aggressive. And so I had to really rein that in and learn how to completely rein that in and just stop being so aggressive and stop getting bored and playing lots of hands I shouldn't because I just felt like it and I wanted to be involved. And now, having to move back the other way, I'm finding that difficult again. So I think I built up fairly good reputation on some of the tables that I was playing on to be tight and quite aggressive, but quite tight in that. I was very, very tight. And now I need to learn to loosen up a little bit. But when and where is the bits
well,
that
that's the real,
that's
the real key. Somebody who does it very well, actually, is James Browning, another commentator on the show, who has a very very solid playing style, plays really quite tight, actually, early in tournaments. Well, that's my understanding anyway. Perhaps he's just fooling me as well. But he's also very good at taking advantage of that image as well, and changing gears later on. But yeah, you need to know, in order to be really successful at poker, you need to have everything available to you. You need to be able to play in every different style, because what I would say to anyone who's new at the game, well, I'd say to anyone, I'm not ashamed, but particularly if you're new at the game, you do well to take on board. Poker is a situational game. You can go and buy books about poker, you can go and buy software to help you with poker, you can watch this show, you can do a lot of different things to improve your game, but nobody can tell you what to do in every situation.
Right.
Because all you can actually get from books, which is incredibly valuable, you must go and utilise the learning tools that are out there. You're an idiot not to, because somebody's gone out and done thousands of hours of work for you. So definitely get the books, use them. Most pros have worn the covers off their poker books. But at the same time, there's no substitute for experience and thinking about the game, because, and the reason that people play this game for years and basically lose themselves in this game, is that it continually varies, because every situation is different. There are situations like, for example, there are many situations in which it's right to bet all of your chips with a pair of queens before the flop. There are some situations where it's right to throw your pair of queens away before the flop. And so you can't write a paragraph saying, this is what you do with a pair of queens. Which is why you shouldn't only be thinking about the cards when you play poker, you should also be thinking about your situation. For example, in this one-table tournament, how many chips have you got? How many chips have your opponents got? What is your image at the table? What is the opponent's image of you? What is your position? What are the blind levels? What are the blind levels going to be? Where does the prize money start? How far away from the prize money are you? Etc, etc, etc. Actually, summed up, all of that is summed up by my poker mentor in America for a short time, whose catchphrase was, in order to win at poker, you have to do a lot of things well. And then quite often he'd pause and go, a lot of things. And he's right. In order to be good at poker, you have to be multi-skilled.
At multitasking.
Multitasking. We see Dolter often there making a common mistake that beginning players make, well, actually some intermediate players as well, calling a bet on the flop with ace-king when he hasn't hit anything.
Right. So he should either fold or bet out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's now beaten by a pair of sevens.
He's beaten by a pair of sevens. The point is he doesn't have anything. He has ace high. I should just say, for real beginners out there, we are assuming some poker knowledge. If you've really just started the game and it's all a bit of a mystery and you're confused by the hand rankings, the best recommendation I can give you is that you go online and you get the hand rankings in front of you while you watch the show, and that will help you to learn a little bit quicker. If you just type in poker hand rankings, they'll come up for you from a number of free sites. Basically, you'll already be familiar with some of them, I'm sure, from various different games. LP's got a set of eights here. Cut across myself. A set of eights, three of a kind, three eights, about halfway up the poker rankings chart. Very often a strong enough hand to take the money. Yeah,
trips.
Trips.
Trips are good. A lot of people think two pair is good, but you have to remember that even though two pair is good, and it might just be the best hand out there, it's quite far down the ladder of hand rankings.
Yeah. The way to think about the hand rankings when you start, I believe, is like a pyramid with a very flat base. Because if you look at it as a list, when you're halfway up the list, you're on about three of a kind, but actually, three of a kind is relatively rare. So it's actually a better hand than it may first appear if you're looking at the list of hand rankings. But remember what a situational game this is. The three of a kind is the easiest example to give, because three of a kind will win you a lot of pots. But say you're looking at a board where all five cards are out and there are four of one suit on that board, four hearts, and somebody bets at you and you're sitting there three of a kind, you don't have a heart, so you don't have a flush, five cards of one suit. Then your three of a kind is almost worthless.
Yeah, and it could be three aces, and it's still
probably trouble.
Yeah.
I know we're throwing a lot at you. I'm aware I'm talking quite fast. It's the excitement of another Poker Night Live. Please do email us in, guys, no matter what your level you go, no matter how new you are to it. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, and we'd love to help you out. Wouldn't we, Cara? We
would absolutely adore to, because this is a nice, live, interactive show, and we did say we were going to be nice to people. We'll be throwing lots of warm and fuzzy feelings their way. So if you are absolutely brand new and you're worried about a question being too simple, please send it in anyways, because we're happy to answer it, and put your name on it. You don't have to be embarrassed.
If you're worried about a question being too complex,
yes,
you know, that is probably fair enough. Maybe you've seen me before.
Well, you know,
I see where you're coming from. Cara's here, we're all right.
Yeah, sure. But, you know, we are here for the next 4 hours, so if you want to ease into the Friday night.
It's Friday night. Where else would you rather be than chilling out with us,
I would
watching some
not be
poker?
anywhere else.
I know you wouldn't.
I would not be anywhere else but here.
Me neither.
No. I've been getting a little, I don't know, I hesitate to use the word addicted because I don't want to, but I've been really feeling the need to play poker a lot lately.
Yeah, definitely not addicted.
No, so that's why I'm glad I'm here at work and I can play now using, you know, company money, which is great.
Cool.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I know that it's very addictive. I'm not quite sure why.
Well,
I haven't actually thought about it. Perhaps viewers could let us know why they think poker's so addictive. Or if they are addicted. And actually, what are the symptoms of this addiction? I'd be fascinated to know what's the worst thing. Have you stayed up all night and then gone to work or something like that? Or have you cancelled? Actually, it would be good if we could get some stories. Yeah. Have you cancelled any
like an anniversary?
Or an appointment or a wedding or something? Not your wedding, that would be too much. What are the symptoms of your poker addiction, guys? poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And why is it such an addictive game? I mean, I've always enjoyed it because, apart from in the early stages, as we see Dolthoffen make the big raise with the ace-king.
Wow.
Well, that's either genius or madness. He obviously...
Someone did that to me in a game a couple of days ago. They had ace-king, I had a pair of kings, and they managed...
What, in the hand?
Yeah, and we ended up going heads up. We're heads up. Yeah. I had a pair of kings, they had ace-king. I went all in, end of a tournament, and they still beat me. They decided to call it pre-flop.
With ace-king?
Yeah.
Well, that's not too bad.
I know, but still.
Carrot, what?
Okay, I'm sorry.
You haven't learned anything,
no,
have you?
I haven't.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Please, if you are new to the game and you're watching this for one of the first times, please try and, pay attention because...
Oh, I do pay attention. I'm just not very
good
at
losing. You do pay attention and you've got much better very
Yeah.
quickly. But it's when you lose that you struggle.
I'm such a
You
bad
can't bear
loser.
it, can you?
I can't bear it.
You can't rationalise it either.
No.
If you're in with kings and he's in with ace-king, then you've done the right thing, haven't you? You've got the best hand.
I know.
But he has... Oh, this is one of those statistics I should
know,
and I always forget. I think he has about a 28% chance of winning.
I know. I think it's just, I'm used to the kind of combat sports kind of thing, because my background was in martial arts. And so when someone beat me, it was usually because they were stronger than me. And I had like a bloody nose or something to show for it.
I do understand.
And now in poker, if I'm just out of a tournament, I kind of get this bereft feeling where I'm like, what happened?
I understand. And it actually, I hate to darken your door, but with bad news, but it actually gets worse the better you get. Because as you become a better player, unless you can accept that you're going to lose a certain percentage of the time, it is very difficult because you will be beaten by people that are not as good as you at poker. Like say, I mean, martial arts is a good analogy, or take any sport like running or football or whatever it is. If you're better than the person you're playing, 9 times out of 10 you'll beat them.
Yeah.
They'll get lucky maybe once out of 10. If it's something like, a running race, they may never get lucky. You may be able to beat them every time. Martial arts, you have bad refereeing, don't you? We all know about that. I tell you what, I was gypped once, I swear. Anyway.
Bad beat stories.
Bad beat stories. Yeah, you're allowed bad beat stories in other sports. Top pair for Charwell, he bets it aggressively, and he's going to win this pot. Still relatively early in this sit and go, so we're chatting. We'll get into the game a little bit more as it gets down to the later stages. But it can be very, very difficult to accept that people that aren't as good at you at poker have beaten you at poker.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the last time it happened to me in '97, it was incredibly annoying.
Oh, terribly shocking.
Terribly disappointing. No, it is, it literally is part of the game, and you have to accept the rough with the smooth if you're going to play a lot of poker.
True.
And maybe that's part of what makes it so addictive. Maybe the slight randomness in it.
I think that's it.
The fact that it isn't predictable.
It keeps pulling you back in because you're not entirely sure what you're going to get each time you play.
We're going to see a good example in this hand of aggression, in that whoever's the more aggressive will win this hand. Neither player has anything, neither player has a diamond, and Aunt Sally has aggression and a bit of position as well. And you can see the value of that there, guys. Neither she nor Dolthoffen had a hand, but she bet, she asked the question, she was the aggressor, and gave herself that advantage and took it down.
Now the structure of these sit and goes, it's a little bit different than some of the other ones that we show, because they start with more chips. They start with 2,000 instead of 1,500. And I believe, actually, the blind structures on these ones are a bit different as well. It takes them a bit longer to get to the different levels. So you are seeing probably more play in each of the levels than you would in other games. Some of the other sit and goes that we show.
Well, there's a nice bit of play and a good tip for everybody out there. If you're in the big blind and the small blind completes, so for those of you that are new, you see the blinds there are 80, 160. If everybody passes and it gets around to Bill, and Bill makes it up to 160, so it doesn't raise but doesn't fold. If you're sitting in the big blind, what that should say to you is the person in the small blind wants to see the flop, but doesn't think enough of their hand to raise.
Yeah.
Okay? So that is a good opportunity to make a raise no matter what your cards and take their money away from them.
Yeah.
And you'll be successful, I would say, 7 or 8 times out of 10 you're going to be successful. Occasionally, maybe 1 out of 10 times, this is off the top of my head obviously, maybe 1 out of 10 times you'll run into a big hand and they've tried to trap you.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
But when that happens, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
Because they'll re-raise you or they'll make a big bet on the front and you can throw your hand away. And it pays for itself for the rest of the times where you are successful.
Yeah. You've got to be able to open up your chips enough to ask those questions.
L Pig's timing is off here.
Oh boy.
L Pig tried to make a big steal, tried to win without the cards, and unfortunately for him, Charwell's got a big hand.
Ouch.
Ouch is right. Good night to the oinker.
Oh.
Well, his curly tail is trotting into the distance.
Oh. Well, he might be in our MTT as well. Every once in a while, we do see him playing in the MTT tables.
Well, when we first started showing multi-table tournaments, he had that phenomenal run, didn't he? He kept winning the whole thing.
This is true.
Coming in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, and he is actually in our MTT for this evening. I do see his name down there. So we have not seen the last of El Pig.
All hail the piglet.
I
wish I could do Homer impression because he has so many funny lines.
He does.
Are you aware of the line when Lisa becomes a vegetarian? And he goes, she doesn't want any bacon. So he says, how about some ham? She goes, well, I don't want that either, do I, obviously? And he goes, all right, how about some pork chops? She goes, Dad, they all come from the same animal. And he goes, oh, Lisa, as if there's some magical animal that can... Very funny. Funny in a Homer voice, you see, if I could do impressions, we'd all be rolling about laughing now.
I know.
Wow.
Inside I'm rolling about laughing.
Yeah.
I'm just very well contained.
Yeah. You don't have to be nice to me, Cara.
No.
I can take failure.
No. But you're generally very funny.
Thanks. You're great.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to go and do something else.
Don't leave me alone. The viewers at home, they need you and your expert opinion on poker.
That's right.
I'm merely here to ask the questions that prompt you to give information to the people at home that they want in nice bite-sized chunks.
That's what it says in your
That's
brief.
what it says in my contract.
You're not only here for that, you're going to play poker later on, aren't you?
No.
In half an hour. Cara Scott will be playing in Beat the Presenter.
Yeah, I suppose, as you said, in the first 4 hands, I might bust out just from sheer, I don't know.
Well, you're quite peppy today, aren't you?
I'm going through stages. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we do tend to advocate a kind of zen-like calm when you play the game, but...
Have I ever managed that? I mean, you should know this. We've played poker together a fair amount of times now. Every single time. Whether I'm winning or losing, I tend to be...
When you win, you tend to enter a state of volcanic euphoria.
I know.
It's best described as.
It's great. I end up standing up and punching the air and screaming. And it's always ever so exciting. As is this poker game, in fact.
Well, we've got blinds of 80, 160, and Charwell's got all the chips at the moment, but we've got quite a long way to go. As you'll know if you've seen the show before, No Limit Hold'em, things can change very, very fast.
Yep, you can be down to, I don't know, out of the top of my head, I'd say 80 chips and come back to win a tournament.
Cara, what's the fewest number of chips you ever had from a position where you've gone on to win the tournament?
Let me think. I believe that would be 80.
Pretty good. Pretty
Not
good.
bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
If only it had been on TV.
Oh, wait a minute. Actually, no, that one wasn't. But I came
The
second.
one where we were playing
Yeah, and I
online
went-
together,
yeah.
you got down to 18, you won.
And I won that.
And then,
Yep,
like
we were
literally,
here.
was it 5 days later?
Yep.
We were here, and you got down to 18, were second.
I know.
Extraordinary.
See? Never count me out.
I never would.
Never count me
I
out.
never would.
Oh, yeah.
That is an important point, guys. If you are, until you've experienced this, you won't fully believe it. But trust me, you're never out of a no-limit hold'em game until you're officially on 0 chips. So if you have a big hand that goes wrong for you, if you have a bad beat or something like that, please try not to get angry about it. Accept that it's happened and still make a good decision with those last few remaining chips, because you can come back. And once you've been playing poker for a while, you will all have an experience like Kara's had at some point in your first few months, your first year of playing, where you come back from almost no chips and you win, or you make a good cash return. And once you've done that, you'll have faith that what I'm saying is right. Until you haven't, it's harder to do. But never give up, and keep making good decisions right until the end. Gold Panda has made a bad decision here, calling for all his chips with 9-9, and a little bit panicky there. He was the short stack at the table and the blinds were going up, but the problem with that move is that he's facing a big raise, he's playing for all of his chips. The vast likelihood is that he's up against either 2 bigger cards than a pair of 9s, or a bigger pair. Only in a few cases will he be up against a hand like a pair of 7s, for example, when he's in good shape. And if he's feeling desperate about his chip situation, and he's feeling he needs to make some chips, he's better sticking in his chips with no hand in position to try and steal the blinds than he is calling an all-in. Only when he gets really short on chips should he be thinking about calling big raises.
Okay.
Ace is on the button for Aunt Sally. You're right, Cara.
Yes, I'm very pensive, I think.
Why?
I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm trying to formulate something in my head.
Very good. While you do that, we'll watch the poker.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
I think I may have lost it.
Now, Aunt Sally's got an absolute monster and isn't going to get paid, unfortunately.
What's that coming over the hill? Is it a monster? Is it a monster?
There's a big scary 3 aces. And, yeah, we usually don't encourage people to slow play, but I think that was such a big hand that maybe a check there was in order. Trying to get some chips out of Charwell. Charwell's quite a good player, I think, from what I've seen. Haven't seen a huge amount, but seems to be quite a good player. Certainly doing well in this tournament. We've got 6 runners left.
And we're down to 6.
Down to 6.
Something I've found lately is that, and I think this goes back to what you were saying at the opening, you can read a lot of books about poker, and that's a great idea because there's lots of good information out there, but there is no substitute for experience.
None.
Once you've actually played a lot of these card hands, you really do get a feeling for how they go. Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. Big flop for Chairboy Dot. I wonder how he wants to play it. He can... Oh, dear, oh dear. Well, it's bad timing for Shaky Shark. He's got a heart to get out of this. No. Put the pressure on in the wrong situation there. Unlucky for him. Very hard to know that Chairboy Dot would have 2 pair there. Sorry, you're saying experience, playing.
Yeah.
Actually doing it.
Actually doing it. I found the last few games that I've played, going in with hands, I know almost immediately if I've done the wrong thing. I'll go in with the hand, or I'll limp in, which I know is something you've told me is a bit stupid in some ways.
I don't think I've used those words.
Okay, but the essence of, yeah, that's a bit stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right, because why would I want to, if I see a flop, and I've got a certain starting hand that I wouldn't even generally play with, the flop comes down, there's usually 2 overcards, maybe 3 overcards, I've not hit it, I have no idea where I am. Why would I even waste the money just to make up the big blind?
Yeah.
To limp in? And I think you're right. it's just something that I've found that as I'm playing, as I'm going through lots of different card hands, and I'm actually playing probably sometimes more than I should in games when I'm not actually on television playing, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
It's been very informative. I've learned, I think, a lot from that.
Yes.
Not sure where I was
good.
going with that, but
no, it's all
there you
good.
go.
As we see Bill double through. Yeah, there is no substitute for experience, but it's got to be experience combined with thinking about your experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Because what a lot of people do is they just play poker and things happen to them, and then they read a book and they might change one thing in their game, and they'll just keep doing the same thing, for years. I've, as Shaky Shark, looking shaky, and is going to go out to a pair of twos here. Charwell's hitting all the cards at the moment. We're down to 5 players, and the blinds are quite high now. Yeah, experience is one thing, but for example, I went up to Newcastle this weekend. I haven't played poker up there for a good couple of years.
Right.
And there are several faces that I recognised, of course, playing cards up there. And almost everybody is playing exactly the same way that they played a couple of years ago. Now, that's absolutely fine if you're playing poker for fun. No problem with that at all. But if you want to get good at this game, as we see, Chair Boy hits the flush. Didn't actually need it. Already ahead, and Aunt Sally got outrun. Chair Boy is having some fantastic flops out of the big blind. Suddenly we're down to 4 players.
Wow.
Should get into a bit of commentary here, Cara Scott.
I believe that probably is a good idea. Sometimes these just go
Roll
so
up your
quickly.
sleeves. You haven't got any.
My metaphorical sleeves are rolled up.
So we're down to 4 players. This is our prize perimeter, the bubble situation. The next player out won't receive a prize, the other 3 will. And at this point in the tournament, chip stacks are arguably the most important factor, more important than your cards to some extent.
Now queens on the small blind, that could be a really good place. Yeah.
It is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with what Bill's done there. He's got the blinds coming. He's got to try and make some chips, otherwise he's going to become insignificant. Unfortunately, he's running to queens. He can get out of it, though. An 8 or a jack or a 10 on the river. That'll do, won't it?
That will do.
Well, there again, you see the value of getting your chips in and not sitting still. He's running to a big hand. That's unfortunate. A large percentage of the time, he'll take the blinds, which is good for him.
Yep.
He's running to a big hand, but he's still not out of it. You're never actually that far behind. I'm not sure exactly what the odds are, but it'll be something like 5 or 6 to 1 against him there. So he's in a bad spot, but he's still got,
He's got outs. And he went in with Jack 10, which isn't, horrific. Fairly high cards, so they would be, if he hit a pair, even just one pair, it would beat a lesser pair.
Yeah. 10 versus ace queen, I think both players will play this hand. Dalton needs to because he doesn't have any chips. Charwell has a lot of chips. A little bit surprised Charwell didn't raise there because Chairboy.'s been playing a lot of hands out of the big blind, and I thought Charwell might want to discourage him from getting involved. As it is, he doesn't. And there's the ace with a 50-50 shot before the flop. Now we've got our prize winners. Well played. Unlucky to dolt often.
Not badly played, just sometimes you do the right thing and the outcome just doesn't go your way. Important to remember.
Cara Scott, memo to self.
Yes, really. Note to self. Must remember that.
Must remember. Sometimes bad things happen to good people.
Yeah. I think we were moaning about this over dinner. Why do bad cards happen to good people?
Why?
There we go. Now Charwell has decided to make a really aggressive play and just take down the blinds. And the blinds are very worth taking at this stage, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, we've got 15,000 chips on the table and the blinds are 1,000. So you're taking, 7% of the tournament chips.
Yeah.
Now the blinds have... oh, no, they haven't, excuse me. That's the raise. Pay attention, Nick.
Now, Chairboy probably thinks Charwell's just trying to steal there.
He does. He really does like to call out of the big blind, Chairboy, and then make a play for the pot. Unfortunately for him, Charwell's flopped top pair, so he's going to get short shrift here. He does with the raise. Chairboy needs to accept defeat. He doesn't accept defeat.
I don't think he believes it.
Well, he has no hand.
Well, he's got a flush draw.
Well, it's rubbish, isn't it? He can hit a 6 for a straight. Oh, dear,
boy.
dear. Well,
I find myself doing that sometimes. But you've got to learn if you're going to ask
I've
a
never
question.
seen you do that.
Well, no, I don't do it on telly. It's one of the crazy things I do when I'm playing poker.
Chairboy Dot is out. What? Have 7-4 and no hand and no...
And think
put
you're
your
just trying
chips
to bully
in.
me. You're just trying to bully me. But it's not even worth the risk. It's just not worth the risk.
I don't know what you're saying anymore.
What?
What isn't worth the risk?
To do that with 7-4, even if it's
Sure.
suited, it's just not worth the risk. But thinking someone's trying to bully you, I get, I don't know, I get where he's coming from on that anyways.
Okay. You can help me out with that because I'm confused.
Okay, sorry.
Charwell's going to take this tournament down, and I have to be honest, I hope you're paying close attention at home, guys, because I thought that was an exemplary display of one-table tournament poker from Charwell. Kudos to you.
Yes, big kudos.
Told you there'd be compliments today. Email us in, Charwell, and tell us how brilliantly you played, and I'll agree.
And so will I.
He played well, right?
No, he really did, yeah.
Lots of aggression at the end, good decisions, good stuff.
There you go. Well done, and well done to all of you who made it into the money there, and thank you for that educational bit of poker. Now, we are going to go to our emails here, because we've got quite a few. The first one is from Drum Ace. Hi there, Drum Ace. And he says, hi guys, I played 100 games, that's $5 or £5.50 single table tournaments. Played 100 games of those. Anyways, and listed the stats on the Poker Night Live forum. This was suggested by Mr. James Browning. Overall, I lost £175. And Mr. Bannon suggested I play slightly looser, for example, raise with pocket pairs instead of limping in with them. Since then, I've played 3 more games of 10 seats, and I finished 10th every time. With my last funds, I entered the Spin Palace multi-table tournament tonight and flopped the top pair with a flush draw, and some fool raised with nothing. So I called. Then he raised all in, and I called because I was way ahead. And after the turn, and then he caught his card on the river. In my opinion, people like this shouldn't do well. And
That's a bad
should be
beat
out
story,
first.
Kara.
And if I were to play like that, I'd lose, I'm sure. Advice, please, as I feel like giving up for good. Yeah, well, maybe it's a bad beat story, but sometimes people just feel really like,
How do they feel?
angry. It's tough. I can sympathize. I've not played the whole 100 games and then lost £175. I couldn't afford to do that, but I understand where you're coming from. Is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Well, you talk to him. No, you talk to him. You understand where he's coming from.
Sometimes bad cards happen to good people, and we have to accept that losing is part of poker, and we can do the right thing and still lose. And in the long run, much more than 100 games. Because the long run is a lot more than 100 games, isn't it? Statistically speaking.
I'm off.
Am I doing all right there?
Yeah, doing great.
If I could take the advice myself, that'd be even better. Okay, now over to you as the expert.
Well, everything you said is right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
Unfortunately, Drum Ace, again, it's one of those emails where it's difficult to give you specific advice because obviously I don't know how you play. You could be playing terribly, you could be playing fantastically and getting unlucky. It's hard for me to know. Everything Kara said is right, so listen to the Scot always. You have to remember that, sadly, you're frustrated. That's quite clear. So you need to take a break from poker.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. If you're frustrated with poker, take a break from it. That's true with anything, whether it's poker, your job, women. If you're frustrated with them, take a break. Potentially for years. With poker, take a break and come back to it refreshed and with a positive attitude. Because unless you've got a positive, confident attitude when you play this game, you will lose.
Yeah.
That's the only guarantee I can give you about poker. The hand you've cited there in the multi-table tournament, if that sort of thing is frustrating you, then maybe this isn't the game for you. Because that sort of thing, that is a good situation. Somebody's put their money in with the worst of it, and that's what you want them to do. And I always feel like a broken record. It's been a year of saying this. Sometimes poker which are 100% in your favour, which means the other guy has a chance, and sometimes he will hit that chance. But that doesn't mean that you didn't want him to put your money in. You're berating him and saying, in your opinion, he shouldn't play or he shouldn't, etc., etc. You want him to play. If people like that don't play, where are you going to get your money from? It's not coming from me. Seriously.
No.
You know, I can't understand it. I sit at the table online and people put this in the chat box, you know, losers like you shouldn't play. Well, where are you going to get your money from? winners, pros, it's not going to happen. You want people to put their money in with the worst of it. If they hit their card, that's fine. All that means is that they'll come back and do it again because they'll be encouraged. You know? It doesn't mean you should change your way of playing. As far as the single table tournaments go and the advice that Mark gave you, it's hard for me to comment because I don't know exactly what advice he gave and what you were doing, but raising with small pairs, if that's what... Is that what he said?
Rather than limping in.
Rather than limping in, that is very aggressive. It depends if that fits in with your overall style of play. Quite a lot of times you're better off throwing away small pairs, actually. The thing is, you've got to find your own style, and you've got to find your own winning style. And while you're frustrated and annoyed, and you're not thinking particularly clearly, no offence, but you know we've all been there. The best thing is to take a break.
Enough said.
Walk out of that bad relationship.
Oh, someone's been burned.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Poker is like a beautiful woman with a nice personality. Are there any of those?
That aren't going to break your heart and your bankroll? I don't know. Women, eh?
It's not easy. Can't live with them. What's the next email?
Right. This one is again from Drum Ace. He's decided to send us in a story.
He gets two.
He does. I like Drum
All
Ace.
right.
I feel his pain. Drum Ace has sent us in an email in response to our plea earlier. How do you know if you're actually addicted to poker? What's your story? And he says, a few months back, I joined a poker game. 5,000 entrants and the top 12 won a very nice seat in a big tourney. After around 7.5 hours of play, I came 13th. Oh, that's awful. And had to literally have a cup of coffee and go to school and teach drums all day. Ouch. So you'd been up all night playing poker for 7.5 hours. You bubbled just before the top 12, and then you had to go teach drums all day, and I'm guessing that's to kids who are also noisy, and you've been up all night. Wow. See, that's ouch.
I want more emails on this. I think it's fun. What are the things that you've done that are bad because you're not addicted, but because you love poker a little bit too much?
Yeah.
How much sleep have you not got? Work you've missed?
Uh-huh.
Important appointments, dates?
Yeah.
We'd love to know, guys. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk.
Yes, definitely. I like this next email.
Okay.
Very much. This is from Sue. Hi, Sue. That would be Nick's mom.
Hello, Mum.
I love it when you email in, Sue, I really do. And she says, did you know that poker is getting a bad name on the Archers as one character is heavily in debt? Now, that's a radio play, right? Because I don't listen to the Archers.
It's not a radio play, Care. It's a national institution. It's been running since 1874. Yeah.
Obviously very important.
And it's very important to a sector of the, including my mum. And I'm worried because if we lose the Archers market, you know, where does poker go from there?
That's the general UK, middle UK, really. As they would say, middle America. It's middle UK.
It's middle UK, yeah.
It really is,
it's
isn't it?
Hertfordshire. I know.
We can't lose Hertfordshire. But see, that's got to be combated by people like us.
That's right.
Flying the flag for poker.
Thank you for your email, Sue, whoever you are. I'll see you tomorrow for the football.
Very nice indeed.
And I love you.
No.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of you as well. This is from Gothfunk, and Gothfunk says, hi, I've just found your channel earlier today, so welcome to Poker Night Live. Seems quite entertaining and informative. He says he has a few questions for us about table image.
Oh, good topic.
Yeah, you know what? Let's see. What kinds of table images can be good to project? That of a bully, a fish, someone who plays strong but bluffs occasionally. How does the kind of table, as in people at the table, affect what method you should take? And finally, how should you show strong or weak hands voluntarily in order to affect your table image, if at all? Cheers and have a good night. Now this is a big question.
It is a big question. It's extremely important, and I think we're going to answer a bit after the break as well, yeah?
I think we're going to have to,
because we're almost out of time this segment.
Mm.
But it's something that you need to constantly be aware of. I'll just leave you with this Lane Flack quote, which I use all of the time, incredibly important, especially if you're a beginner. As soon as you can get this into your head, the better. He says, I haven't made a lot of money in poker from knowing what my opponent has. I've made a lot of money in poker from knowing what they think I have. So people's impression of you is incredibly important in this game.
Right, now let's see the impression of a Poker Night Live professional from Canada. I believe we have one on the line. And I do think that we have John Tuckleidis from Canadian Poker Night Live on the phone with us.
Hello.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
We're well here. Thank you very much. I was in our fair land of Canada not too long ago, but I didn't manage to stop by the studios there in Toronto, I believe.
Yes, that's right, in Toronto. You were out in beautiful BC.
I was. I enjoyed it immensely being back in the motherland, in the homeland, if you will. But I hear you guys have been doing lots of renovations and whatnot on the set there for Poker Night Live in Canada.
Yes, we have. They completely redid the set, and it's a different style, but it certainly looks very sharp. It looks really good, and we're happy with that. We're sitting on some chairs, though, that are a little different, and we haven't got our desks, which, felt pretty safe before. But, I mean, otherwise, it's just an adjustment for us, and I think the response has been pretty good so far.
Oh, that's good. Do you get a lot of viewer response sort of via forum or call-ins and that sort of thing?
We do get a fair amount of email. It's pretty much email response. I don't think we really offer our viewers a phone number to call, so it's pretty much just email. I've had a few people on the street mention that they watch the show and that they recognize me, so that, for me, is an indication that more and more people are watching the show, so that's pretty cool. And of course, you can tell by the tables, we're getting new players all the time on the TV table, so that's pretty cool as well.
Great. So do you have quite a few regulars, though, that you guys are watching, seeing people's games changing as they're going through?
I would say so. Some change for the better, and some refuse to change, and it doesn't typically pay off in the long run. So. But we definitely get a lot of interested emails. I think I'm known as one of the poker experts that can be a bit harsh on some of the players at times. I get a little into it when I'm watching the game, and I get a little emotional and upset sometimes when I see bad plays. And hopefully no one is taking it too personal, but we certainly get a lot of feedback as a result.
Okay, well, just as a general question, how do you feel about playing King 10 offsuit when you've only got 5 times the big blind and you're in middle position?
Oh, God.
Personally, I think that's a valid play.
If you're in a tournament, if you're in, I've made the mistake. Even suited, I think King 10 is a hand that is something you can. It's a hand that loses money in the long run, and it's certainly not a hand that you want to risk chips with if you are short stacked. I would. Wait a little bit, depending on where the big blind is. If you're in middle position and it's coming up, and you're 5 times the big blind, well, you might want to take a risk and push all in. But if you can afford to wait a little bit longer for a better hand, then I would probably fold it.
Oh, okay. See, I'm taking a bit of a pull there because I busted out of a tournament a couple of weeks ago with King 10.
4 weeks ago.
I know. I can't seem
Just
to let it go.
go.
I just can't seem to let it go. Do you have any hands that sort of scare you to play now, John? Have you ever had a hand that just didn't work out for you over and over again until it just burned you so badly you'll never play it again? Not that I'm bitter here at all.
No, I never ever say never with any hands, but I have been burned many times by pocket jacks. Pocket jacks is a hand that, whether you're aggressive or passive, whether you're in position or not, it can burn you. At times, depending who you're playing against. So it's really important to know the players at the table or how they play and how they're going to react to your type of play. But I really think that regardless of what hand you have, if you play it in position properly, like in late position, and you're keeping an eye on the other action, typically things can work out for you. But King 10 is a very hard hand to play out of middle position, I would say. Late position, I might limp in if there's a lot of callers. It's certainly worth limping in, but you have to really proceed with caution with that hand.
Okay, well, I guess I'll have to bear that in mind. It's been kind of split, actually, here on the whole King 10. I only had 5 times the big blind left. I pushed all in. I came up against a pair of queens. It was a bit ugly. It was messy. There was blood all over the poker table.
An ongoing emotion for some weeks now.
I just can't seem to let it go.
Wow, there's $5 at stake, so you can imagine.
Another thing I can't bear to let go is you, John, because we're going to have you back here again for another bit of a phone call later on, so don't go anywhere. If you will, stay there for us.
All right.
Cool, and we're going to ask you a few more questions later. Now we're going to go to a break. Make sure that you stay tuned, everyone out there, because there's lots more great poker action after the break from him and from me. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's a second hour here on a Friday night, bringing you into the weekend in the best style possible.
Come on.
Me and Nick.
Here we go.
Rock on, it's the A-team. Oh, you read my mind there. Now
that isn't cheesy, calling it the A-team.
No.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's in an ironic kind of way.
Which one are you?
I'm obviously Hannibal.
Clearly.
Clearly. Are you Mr. T?
It's pretty obvious I'm face, all right?
Oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough.
I mean, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're the face? Well, I am just trying to get into it. Beat the Presenter game. I know, I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing here. Just trying to get into a Beat the Presenter game here. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to hand the show over to you now, Mr. Nick Wealthall. It's all yours. Nice.
Guys, Kara's going to be playing, so you can watch her on the internet if you like. You can watch on the internet as well as watching us at the same time. We're going to take a little email before we go back to some action. Actually, we'll pick up what we were talking about before. We had an email about image and your table image. There were a number of questions in the email. I can take the topic as a whole. I would say that it's a vexed question because online you could argue, particularly in medium and smaller games, that your image is significantly less important than other factors, particularly if you're playing at low limits. The reality is that players just tend to play their cards. They don't tend to take too much notice of who they're playing against. Judging when that's changed or when that's not the case is an important skill. And I was talking to Kara before about the fact that she went through a period where she thought people were deliberately calling when she bet because they didn't respect her. And I was saying to her, it's probably not true. It's probably just that you went through a phase of people having cards when she had cards, and that happens. So it can be difficult to judge exactly what other people's images of you. It can be easier to do that live because you've got a bit more chit-chat and a bit more interaction with the players. How to manipulate your image, that kind of thing. Towards the end of a tournament, you need to bear in mind recent action. I think that's very important. If you've raised 4 in the last, 4 hands, if you've raised 4 hands in a row, then and you want to raise the 5th hand, then that is going to have an effect on the other players, even at the low levels. Their image of you will be as somebody that raises a lot, and they will be starting to think you can't possibly always have it. Now, here's where image can work for you and against you. It can work for you. Say, for example, if on that 5th hand you pick up a pair of kings, then your raise may not be taken seriously and you actually have the goods. And so your image will make it more likely that you're called. The opposite, of course, is true. If you then try and steal on that 5th hand, it's much more likely you'll be looked up. So this is what I talk about when I say you need to be constantly aware of how you're viewed by the table. That's really the critical thing. And then the emailer, I really apologise, I can't remember your name. The emailer said, what's a good image to have? Well, the reality is that you can make all types of different images work for you. The key thing is to be aware of it and to be aware of how the other players are responding to it. If you have a tight image, then obviously you have that much more success of stealing or bluffing, and so you can make that work for you. If you have a loose, aggressive image, because you play a lot of hands, or you represent that you play a lot of hands, then you're much more likely to get called when you have the real deal. So you can make anything work for you, but the idea is to be aware of what the other player's image of you is and how you can make it work for you. So play around with it, see what works for you. We'll take one more email before we go back. Did you get in yet? I'm
still working on it.
You're still working on it? My goodness.
I know.
Let her play, guys. She gets so cross if she doesn't. Second only to when she loses, actually.
I'm in.
She's in. Congrats. Email from Kim. Hey guys, thank you Kim, by the way. Haven't heard your name before as an emailer, so welcome. Enjoying the show. I was wondering what your feelings are on 2-pair. I'm beginning to think I should be laying down 2-pair more often than I do, as the only hands that are prepared to call the big bets I make are going to be able to beat 2-pair. I wouldn't say that was true, to be honest, but let's see what else you've got to say. On the other hand, I wonder if I'm just being unlucky. I'm happy to fold if the board looks dangerous, but often I'm up against trips or a relatively safe-looking board, or at worst, the other player happens to catch their gut shot. Well, we don't worry about that, do we, Kim? Because if they're playing with a gut shot and inside straight, then you've got the best of it. So I don't want to be folding the best hand, but at the moment I don't regard 2-pair as being that good. On the other hand, while writing this, I just want a massive pot with 2-pair. Would love to hear your thoughts. Cheers. P.S. According to Card Player, the odds Ace King versus Ace Ace has a 29.6% chance of winning. I said 28. I apologise for my 1.6% inaccuracy. It will never happen again. Kim and everyone else, the thing with this kind of subject is you can't say 2-pair is a good hand, 2-pair is a bad hand, you should lay down 2-pair a lot, you shouldn't lay down 2-pair a lot, because it's so situational. 2-pair particularly, the thing you have to understand is not all 2-pair are created equal. And the context is everything here. You're right, you should lay down 2-pair sometimes. Sometimes 2-pair is going to be in terrible trouble. But also, it will win you its fair share of pots. So it does depend what 2-pair you're talking about. Just to give you a feel for that, the board, the community cards in the middle, are incredibly important to this judgment. If you hold, let's say, Ace-10 in your hand, and the board is Ace-10, 6-4-2 with no flush possible, well, clearly, that is an incredibly strong situation. You've got the top 2-pair, there's very few straights out there, there's no flushes out there, you're only vulnerable to 3 of a kind. A lot of the time, you're going to have the best hand. If, however, you hold 5 and 6 in your hand, and the board is Ace, King, Queen, 5, 6, well, that's a very vulnerable 2-pair. There'll be, let's say there's a flush possible to make it even worse. There are a lot of hands that are going to be beating you there. So not all 2-pair are created equal. You have to be aware of the context and the betting patterns and who your opponents are. Because if somebody raises you on the end and you've got 2-pair, whether or not you call will not only depend on what the board is and what your hand is, but also on your opponent, their view of you, are they like to be bluffing, etc., etc. You did put one thing in your email, which was that when you bet, you're only going to be called by hands that beat you. I don't think that's true. It depends what game you're playing in, but in a lot of games against weaker players, you're going to get called by top pairs, draws, etc., etc. So it'll come with experience, Kim, but try not to think in terms of, I'm trying to get you guys not to think in terms of hard and fast rules. So don't think like that. Judge every 2-pair in context, and hopefully, I think you've probably just been getting unlucky with them. Guys, we do want your texts and emails, especially in this hour, because I've got to carry this farce of a show.
All by yourself?
All by myself.
Oh,
I say farce of a show,
thing.
that's because I'm carrying it. It's all related.
Yeah?
Yeah. I want lots of emails from you guys. We're here until 4. I'm 2. That's the old days. We're here for another 3 hours. I'm here for this hour, and I need to talk to you. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. The text number is 84222 if you prefer. We'll talk to you about anything. Doesn't matter how complex or basic your question is. Really interested to know if you're addicted to this wonderful game, how bad that addiction is, and what it's caused you to do. Have you missed work? Have you lost work? Have you lost your job?
No.
Are you sitting in an alley somewhere, piggybacking someone else's wireless connection? All you have left is a cardigan and a laptop. I'd love to know about it. I'd also like your amusing stories about appointments you've cancelled, that kind of thing, or maybe friends you know that play just that little bit too much poker. Get in touch, guys. We're going to our multi-table tournament while Kara plays online. Mm-hmm. So why not watch both? MTT, this is the good one. They're all good, aren't they? But this is the one with $2,000 added. $2,000 of free money. And we've got blinds of 200, 400, middle stages of this tournament. About 40 players left. And the average stack is somewhere around 6,000. 200, 400 blinds with an average stack of 6,000. I would suggest that you'd want about 5,000 or 6,000 to be comfortable in this tournament. Obviously, you'd love more, but less than that, and you're not that comfortable. Remember, guys, it's not only where the blinds are also going to go up. So constant chip accumulation is necessary in tournament poker. I do believe. A6 for Crowe. And Russ is going to make the move with the ace-queen. Crowley's in late position. He thinks there's a good chance he's got the best hand. Crowley shouldn't have a problem folding this, really. Well, decided to call, and it's hard to understand that decision. I do think this is a big thing on the internet, in the lower middle levels. Before the flop, players do not respect re-raises, and if you're a good player, you need to think about making that adjustment. It's hard to get a lot of weaker players to put down their hands before the flop. So you might consider just calling, or you might consider not playing if you're just playing to push them off a hand. Crowley there, calling for almost all of his chips with ace-6, which is a poor hand to say the least. How you doing, Cara Scott?
I'm all right. I'm doing just fine. Thanks very much for asking.
Playing with lots of friends.
I am.
Yeah.
Everyone's being real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won't last. Probably saying nice things about me, are they?
They are saying lovely things about you,
Yeah.
and they really like your shirt and jacket combination
Do
today.
they? Bless them.
Yeah.
Available in all good shops, all good charity shops. RNC decides to make the move with King Jack, and he does have the best hand. Up to 6,000 and competitive. You want to be around 6,000. We're talking about being addicted to poker, guys. I knew I had a problem the first time I took my laptop into the toilet with me. Because I figured out over a period of experimentation, slightly messy experimentation, that I couldn't make it from the lounge to the toilet and back without missing at least one hand. And so the laptop now comes into the bathroom with me. Not the shower. That is dangerous. Electricity and water do not make good bedfellows, we know that. But yeah, that's when I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a problem years ago, who am I kidding? My little sister, on her last night in Vegas, played so much poker. She played all through the night, she didn't go to bed. Went to the airport and fell asleep at the departure gate and missed her flight. That is too much poker.
That is too much poker.
That's too much poker. But I think she's got a point. I mean, she takes responsibility for missing a flight. But at the same time, how did nobody wake her up?
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously not sitting at the departure gate, you know, because it's a nice place to stay, is she? Crowley does the right thing. That's good to see. He did the wrong thing with the ace-king, the ace-6. But he's done the right thing here because the blinds are coming to him. He's got 4 times the big blind there or thereabouts and a playable hand in his situation. King 9. He'd rather play that hand than wait for the blinds to come. He doesn't want to get called, but he won't mind it when the cards are turned over, but he will mind it when the flop's out. Unfortunately, he's got outrun. Doesn't mean he did the wrong thing. I firmly believe he did exactly the right thing, and actually to throw that King 9 away would have been an abdication of his responsibility to good poker. Or something.
Or something.
Or something. Something that isn't what I just said. He did the right thing, unfortunately he's gone out, and it's not that hand he should look back on, it's the ace-6 where he committed most of his chips he should look back on as being the reason he's gone out. I do think that's something players do too much. Oh, 6 on the end. How fortunate for Kujifijiwi. RNC will be cursing. Only a 6. And not the 6 of diamonds. I can't remember if that was in... Yeah, it was in his hand, wasn't it? So only a 6 could have won that. I do think that's something people do too much at multi-table tournaments, Cara and everyone, is that they look at the hand they went out on and they analyse that to death.
Ah.
And very often you should look at the tournament as a whole and why you didn't have more chips and why you ended up in that situation, not just the hand you went out on.
That is exactly true. Someone gave me that very advice. I believe it was Buffy Be Good gave me that very advice one day in an email.
Buffy is right. RNC is going to have to put his chips in here with a pocket pair, 2 hands to the big blind. It's a bit of a no-brainer for him. He does. He goes ahead. Good for him. I don't need to get overexcited, Cara, but the analysis glasses have come out.
I know, I saw that. It drew my attention there for a moment.
We're taking the show up a notch.
Oh, kick it up a gear.
Kicking up a gear. We've eased them in with the first hour. Well, RNC is going to get a bit of revenge on Kuji Fijui here. He gets some of those chips back that he raped from him in the last hand with that lucky 6 on the river. And 6s are doing the rounds. Does RNC want to play them this time? Now he's got some more chips. Nope, he doesn't. Run a drum with the ace-king, the genuine hand, and Vim Fuego has nothing. He's going to delay for a little bit to make it look like he doesn't give his big blind up cheaply. Or perhaps he's going to delay for a long time. I actually never see the point of that. People advocate that you do it, but I don't see the point, because what you're doing is you're saying, I think about whether I play my hand or not, and then I throw it away. Which, if I was trying to steal your blind, that would make me think, well, he's prepared to throw away decent hands. And I'd steal from you more. So I've always thought different to that, but you'll hear the opposite from other people. We're after your emails, guys. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. I'd love to know how addicted you are and why and what has happened as a result. Funny ones. I don't want, I was joking before. I don't actually want hard luck stories. I want funny ones. We got an email from Hoik. Good evening, Hoik. Nice to hear from you as ever. He says, hello there, Cara and Nick. Once again, Poker Night Live, the Poker Night Live well is open, and I have come to sup the water of knowledge. Not sure I can live up to that. The countdown is on until the Poker Bowl semi-final on Sunday night. In view of this, rather than an individual question, I wonder if you can offer a few tips for everyone on surviving what is sure to be the tightest game on earth. I appreciate I'm essentially asking how I can get on TV, but as you know, have an uncle in the business. Tip number 1. As you know, us PNL regulars are all TV tarts and desperate to win. Given everyone is likely to be as tight as a Scotsman's wallet at happy hour, do you think I should go loosey-goosey? Can you send us an English version of this, Hoik? Bearing in mind I'm the tightest player in the world anyway. Actually, come to think about it, I better not advertise how I'm planning to play on live TV. Keep up the good work, guys. P.S. Big up the backroom staff, have a beer on me. Hoik, your email's on TV. You don't need to cheapen yourself like that, all right? And one beer between them is enough, believe me, to buy their affection. They don't get much. If you're playing in a really tight tournament, let's say it is going to be really tight for the sake of argument, Hoik, then why not play loose? Why not? If people aren't going to play unless they've got a good hand, then start exploiting that. There's lots of different ways you can do that. You can raise to steal the blinds, of course. You can also see a lot of flops. If people are only playing good cards, if you're feeling particularly daring, and this only really works towards the beginning of the tournament where you've got implied odds, if somebody makes a raise up front and it's a really tight tournament and they're good players, then you can call that raise in a late position with a worse hand. Don't usually recommend this, but it is a valid play. So you can call with something like 6-7. And you do that for 2 reasons. One is you might hit your hand, great news, Yahtzee, back of the net. But also, they might miss. And because they're playing in a predictable fashion, you can put them on a selection of hands. You can put them on a big pair or 2 big cards if they raise from early position. And if the flop comes low, you can then represent a bigger hand. And you may well win a lot of pots that you shouldn't ordinarily win. So that's just one thing for you to conjure with. There are other moves that you can make. But yeah, definitely, your instinct's right. If you're playing a tight game, play loose. This is why I always say good players, good poker players, don't have one style. I always find it interesting when you see profiles of poker players in poker magazines or on TV or whatever, and they say his loose, aggressive style or his, super tight style. The truth of the matter is the really good players that stick around for years and make money out of this game for years are able to play in a lot of different ways, because when you sit down in a poker game, you don't know how everyone else is going to be playing. And what do you do if they're playing in a way that doesn't suit your style? Well, if you don't have another style to go to, then you're slightly screwed. Which is always unsatisfying. So that would be the tip, definitely. If it's a tight tournament, take advantage of that. Always want to be taking advantage of your opponents. Poker at pokernightlive.co.uk, guys. Looking forward to lots and lots of emails in the next 3 hours. It's Friday night. I know you're all up and with us. You're not going anywhere. We're going to check in with Kara Scott. Watch this. How you doing, Kara Scott?
I'm very well, thank you.
Cool. You're still in the tournament?
Yeah, duh.
Are they playing very tight?
Oh, wait, I have to do stuff here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Addicted to poker.
Sad, isn't it?
Can't even have a conversation with a good friend. That's the stage it's got to.
That's terrible. You know how bad it's actually gotten? It's got to the point I was sitting on the beach the other day and I wished I had my laptop.
That's bad.
It's bad, isn't it? I know.
All good. I see it as a good thing. Let's give out some action, guys. This is our cash game. Keep those emails coming in as we take a look at some cash for the first time tonight. This is our 25 50-cent game. Distinct from the tournament games that we've watched so far on the show, in that the blinds will stay the same. They will stay the same as long as this game is in existence at 25 cent, 50 cent, and they set the level of the game. Basically, you can put down $50. $50 is the maximum. And I'll try not to be distracted by Kara's game anymore.
Yeah, or maybe I should try not to be distracted by you now.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
You're saying that I did that to you, are you? Personal responsibility, Kara. Come on. Well, you had a good hand. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Oh, God, here we go. Tantrum starting early.
Oh, stop it.
So we've got a full table. Just seeing if I recognise any of the names. And do you know what? I don't really, which is refreshing. Some new names for us to conjure with. Drop us an email, guys, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk if you're playing in this game. How has it been for you? Well, for Limp, it's been exceptional. Bear in mind, I said $50 is the most that you can have when you start out playing on the table. So he's almost up to 5 times that now, of course. He may have bought in more than once originally, or he may have lost money at other tables, but as far as we can tell, he's having a good night. And cash games, very different from tournaments. A different style of play is often successful in a cash game. In tournaments, because the blinds keep going up, you have to make moves at some point. You have to make bluffs at some point. In cash games, you can play very tightly. We were talking about image before. In a weak cash game, in a low-limit cash game, I believe you can just play good cards and make money. You never have to make any kind of move. And in fact, you see a lot of tournament players. Some of the tournament players, some of the names that you will know if you've started taking interest in poker and watching other TV poker shows, how dare you, why would you? But if you have, or if you've read poker magazines, some of the, quote, superstars of poker may be good tournament players, but they lose money in cash games. A couple of very famous ones who are reputed to be big money losers in cash games because tournament style of play normally is not successful in a cash game. You have to be able to play differently. And believe me, there are only a very few players that master both. Usually poker players end up only playing one or the other. Well, that's not true. They usually end up specialising one or the other. Certainly, they usually end up winning in only one or the other because at the top level, you need to be excellent at both types of game, and they are very different. So when you're learning, try both, see which you prefer, see which gives you the best results even. And don't be afraid to only play one of the types, tournament or cash. If you enjoy playing both, play both. But don't worry if you don't like playing cash or if you don't like playing tournaments. Because the reality is with internet poker, there will never be a shortage of a game. In the old days, when there was no online poker and it was all casino-based, you really had to be able to play all different types of poker and both forms of the game. Because you may turn up at the casino and your specialist game may not be available. But that's not the case anymore. Limp has got a pair of kings. He's obviously hitting cards tonight, hasn't stopped. And Pool Ball really doesn't have anything in this situation. Throws his hand away. Queens for Pool Ball. Pigeonhead's called and picked up the flush draw, but Pool Ball's got a set of queens. And he decides to put one check in. Okay, and now he should raise. He doesn't want to slow play this anymore. Okay, he's made a little raise. He could have raised a bit more. We talk about this a lot, but you're more likely to get money out of players when they can still improve their hand as opposed to waiting. See, now Pigeonhead can't improve his hand. He can't hit that flush, and he's much less likely to call a big amount of money. So why not put him to the test earlier when he might think, I could catch that diamond? Usually it's best not to slow play. Top pair for ADF. And that's good enough to take it down. Now, in a cash game, I think actually, in reference to what we were talking about earlier with regard to image, in reference and with regard, well done, Nick. Good use of the English language. Would be nice, wouldn't it? That wasn't. I think image is actually less important in cash games, but often more relevant. I'll explain myself. When you have a certain image in a tournament, it can be very important because you're going to play more hands, particularly as the tournament comes to the end, and they're going to be more decisive. In a cash game, you're not going to play as many big hands, but your image is more relevant because you'll play for longer with the same players. Potentially, in a settled cash game, you could play several hours with the same players. And over that time, they will form an opinion of you. Even weak players will notice patterns in how you play, even if all they're noticing is whether you play a lot of hands or a few. So in a cash game, you do need to be aware of the kind of image you're developing. And there are several players, good players, who will actually view a cash game as they will have a specific plan. I had a very good friend in America who used to do this. And that plan is to advertise early on that he's a wild player. And even, not deliberately lose, but not have a problem with losing early on. Sorry, I've been distracted by Kara Scott. It's easily done.
Oh,
Beautiful
so
and lovely woman.
Aren't you sweet?
And you're playing poker.
Well, yeah.
Ace Queen's going to take this, I think. I completely lost my thread.
Oh, you're
What was I talking about, Karen? She can, honestly, she can make you lose your thread with one look of her pre-flop raise.
You're right. Oh, with one toss of the hair.
One toss of the brunette locks. Yeah, what I was talking about is probably brilliant, and I hope you learned from it. So, 25-50 cash game. I do apologise, guys. There'll be another brilliant stream of thought along in a minute. Don't panic. Unraised flop, pot, 6-7 on the button. That's got to be playable, hasn't it?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
That was rhetorical for the viewers. Well, limp has the cards here, and we'll probably not limp. We'll probably make a raise. Thanks for the emails, guys. Keep them coming in. Poker@pokerlightlive.co.uk. You know how much we love to hear from you. And on this Friday night, tell us what you're doing for poker this weekend. Are you playing at home, playing out and about? And let us know any amusing stories you have about being addicted to poker or just playing too much poker. Have you done that thing, which I've done many, many times, and when you try and go to sleep, all you can see in front of you is fold, call, raise buttons and cards and recurring patterns of poker beauty?
Oh.
Now, how does Limp like to play in these situations? He actually folds. Clearly, this is a guy who plays tight in cash games if he's folding 10 on the button. Nothing wrong with that, and at this level of poker, he's going to take the money most of the time playing like that. Good lesson. Good flop for Pigeon Head. He should raise here. He should be confident of having the best hand. He's got the top pair, the flush draw. He's got everything covered. And takes it down. Limpy, limpy. There we go. Everybody's missed. First player to bet can have it. And there's one for Pigeon Head. And we're going to break off from the game for a second and come back to me. Great. I hope you're enjoying the show tonight, guys. I hope you're chilled out this Friday night. Although it's quite warm, isn't it? It's delightful. Summer's arrived for a day.
Well, 2 days, really. Yesterday was
2 days.
quite nice as well.
Not for us working people, but apparently some people were on the beach today.
Not so bad.
Gotta love it. This is from Easa K. Easa Good, I think. Easahk. Yeah. Hope I play against you tonight. What are you going to play on Carer? So much fun when I played against you and beat the presenter. A fan, Carer.
Oh.
You're busy, I know that.
That's nice.
Are you playing against him tonight?
No,
okay?
he said he couldn't quite get his fingers working fast enough to get on a seat on the table.
You do need fast fingers if
me
you're going
again.
to play with Carer. I had a bankroll of $40, 25 cent, 50 cent. Apologies. In the space of an hour, I made... Oh, no, excuse me. I had a bankroll of $40. I don't understand these numbers at all, Isa. 25, 50 cent. In the space of an hour, I made $2,000. I was getting coffee, so I went up to 25... Okay, you mean 40... Okay, fine. He was playing 25 cent... He's playing 25, 50... The question is, he has big problems managing his bankroll. By the end of the night, he usually breaks even. Do you know what percentage of your winnings you take out of poker? Great show as usual. Watch me manfully make a fist of this. I wanted to read your email because it was about bankroll, and I didn't quite read the first bit of the numbers. I'm not quite sure exactly what information you're trying to get over to me there. But the question about bankroll is a valid one in terms of things like moving up, taking money out, etc., etc., etc. The answer is it all depends what you're trying to achieve in terms of building your bankroll and making money at this game. Are you trying to build a bankroll in order to play at higher stakes? Are you trying to win some money to supplement your income, to buy yourself big plasma tellies or go on holidays? Are you trying to make an actual income to live off? You may take the view that your poker money is completely separate from all your other money. It's a hobby, it's a sideline, and you're just trying to build that stack as big as you can until you... Can you behave yourself?
Sorry, I was just trying to read the email.
Yeah. You can't bear not being on, can you?
No, I'm sorry. Well, no, I just wondered what it was about. Is all.
Bankroll
All right.
management, Karen.
Oh, it's
Bankroll
very
management.
exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. One of your favourite topics, yes. It depends what you're trying to achieve. That's the bottom line in terms of what you, how you manage your bankroll and whether you take money out of your account and that kind of thing. If you don't want to move up in stakes, then every time you get above a certain amount, you can take off your profit, if you like. But by doing have enough money to move up, that's the sort of downside of that. You do have to be very careful taking money out of your poker account because of this horrible thing called variance, which is that in poker you'll have winning runs and then you'll have losing runs. If you look at a winning poker player's money graph, it doesn't go like that. It goes like that. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you draw a line through it, it's going up. So it can be very hard to know when you can withdraw money and when you can take money out. It's a toughie, and it does take a lot of practice to manage your money properly. And they say, actually, the top players say, and some of the top writers say, that the difference between the best players in the world and the good players in the world is money management, bankroll management. And you'll have heard me say recently that it's come to my attention that most poker players are playing way too high. They're playing games that are too big for their bankroll. James Browning, I was on with recently, I believe said, I hope I'm not misquoting you, James, that you would want, if you're playing single table tournaments, you'd want at least 100 entry fees to dictate. So if you were playing $10 entries, you need at least $1,000 in your bankroll. Now, I guarantee most players with $1,000 in their bankroll aren't playing $10 single table tournaments. So be careful with your money, manage your money, and don't feel the need to play higher than you're comfortable with. You should be playing a game that you've got an edge over, that you can beat, but also one that you can withstand the swings over. Very, very important. Guys, we're going to drop back in on a game. We're going to go back to that cash game, see what's happening, see if Limp is still ruling the roost. Keep those emails coming in. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk is where we're at, as if you didn't know that. I know you're all going to be with us until 2 a.m. because Saturday tomorrow, FA Cup final day. On the pool. Come on, Liverpool. That was. Just got a boo from the producer in the gallery, who I believe is a Chelsea fan. The massive loser. Everyone connected with that We Can Buy Success club. Let's review Chelsea's history. Right, what should we do now? 8-5 for John Boy Rebel. He's raising under the gun. What I'm saying there is they have no history. That was my joke about them there. I hope that came over because I really do want to have a go at them and I don't want to run the risk that I didn't get that over. That's the end of my close-ups for the night. John Boy raising with the 8-5. He's either playing fast and loose or he's trying to vary his game. Ooh, and Posse Dossie doesn't raise there and leaves herself $1.15 for a rainy day. Got to be honest, Posse, I think it's going in. Flush draw and straight draw for John Boy. And he's losing at the moment, but he's got several cards he can hit, and that's one of them, makes the straight. Well, that won't please Posse. And John Boy's wild play. He is a rebel. He's a little bit maverick. Has bust Posse. Eye the Chaffinch, Cara.
Eye the Chaffinch.
You're at the stage of the tournament where the Eye the Chaffinch really needs to come into play.
I see. Apparently, the Hammers are going to win, is what I'm seeing on the chat box. I already said soccer. Don't get soccer.
Can you please use the American pronunciation and call it Soche? As an American commentator did when I was over in Vegas, and we used to tune in to try and watch him every time he was on. Soche, brilliant. The Hammers are going to win, are they? Only if they change the rules. Pigeon Head with 3 6. Only if they make it least goals win. They might do it. 3 6s. He was winning anyway, but that kind of sets the seal on it. And Pool 8 Ball has no hand here, no call. I wouldn't have thought so. No. Limp from Posse Dossie. And John Boy is playing very aggressively. I wonder how this style will work out for him in this low-limit cash game. Well, while he's hitting cards, as he has done the last couple of hands, it's going to work out fine. Takes another one down. Well, Joff DUFC has got a decision here. He can either call or he could raise here with the tens. He just wants to call. And not a great flop for him. Obviously, doesn't look too bad for the tens, but Pigeon Head's got a flush draw. Pool Ball's got top pair. And this is a raise or fold situation. He folds. Pool Ball should raise. He doesn't. Is Pigeon Head going to bet this flush draw again? I don't think Pool 8 Ball's going to be going anywhere. Certainly not for a bet of $2. And that doesn't really change anything, except that Pigeon Head wants to bluff. Pool 8 will have the best hand the whole way. Pair of queens for Potty Dotty, who's both potty and dotty, I understand, if internet rumours are to be believed. Set of queens, that's about the second or third set of queens we've seen tonight. Ladies' night on Poker Night Live. All the ladies, including my mum. And we've had an email from your mum, Kara.
I know.
Just to make the show even more cliquey. Which we'll read out very soon. Poker at pokernightlive.co.uk, guys. We'd love you to get in touch, whoever you are and wherever in the world you're watching us. And whatever your poker fascination is.
Yes, even if you're just related to us, and that is the only reason you
just happen
watch.
to know the presenters. And yes, this does happen to Bruce Forsyth and others. We've also got a couple of emails coming through about your compulsion to play this game. I've admitted I take my laptop to the toilet with me. And Kara's admitted she was having a lovely day on the beach in Brighton and wanted her laptop there.
So sad.
We both clearly have a problem. How about you guys? Potty Dotty hits top pair. That's out. Pool Ball has no hand, and that'll be all she wrote for this one. And you can see, if you haven't played in a cash game before, the pattern that most cash games take up is several small pots in a row, and then out of nowhere you'll get a massive confrontation. And that is the nature of no-limit hold'em cash games, by and large. Occasionally you'll get a wild table where there's big hands very regularly, but often you'll have these periods of quiet and then you'll have a big, big confrontation, and it will obviously be because both players hit a hand of some kind. Not on this occasion. Potty Dotty's the only one with a real hand.
And Potty Dotty does indeed have a real hand, and it's born fruit. And he's taken the pot.
Are you back with us, Kara Scott?
I am. See, I'm just seamlessly segueing into a bit of poker there.
You are almost too smooth, to be fair.
I know. I'm so smooth.
The best of the best of the best.
We are the A-team. I'm feeling a bit BA bracket at the moment.
Not that you want to give anything away about the tournament you just played in.
Oh, no. I really don't.
I have to say, as you know, adore you and want you to do well and all those good things. But I think if you had have won the tournament, I'm not saying you didn't. If you had,
Well done.
I think you might have been uncontainable this evening, given your peppiness levels.
They were pretty high going
high.
in. I did find concentration rather difficult.
Sorry, you
As being quite
you only got
chatty.
2 hours to go. Well, that's good. You know, talking is a big part of your job.
That's true. It's a good thing I type really fast.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think I gotta say again, like I usually do, that 1 hour there is one of my favourite hours of the week. I so enjoy playing Beat the Presenter.
Cool.
I love that. I love the interaction. And you've been reading away on some of these emails, I see.
Some of them.
We've had
I've
comments.
been interacting live with the viewers.
I know, and then in the chat box on the game I was playing, they were also coming back with comments as you were interacting live with their emails.
Great, but not as helpful because I can't. Why don't they email in?
Well, they were, and then they're commenting on your comments on the emails. For example, Hoikballs, who's emailed in, wanted to say thank you for your wonderful advice.
Bless him.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure. This is going to be one of those big confrontations I mentioned, I think, because Pool Ball has been calling a little bit too much anyway, so I don't anticipate him putting this top pair down. And Posy Doddy has got him bang to rights with the 3 6s.
Ah, bang to rights.
I was right. It's a big confrontation.
Ooh-ah.
And
There it goes.
top pair with a jack kicker is not strong enough to play that bigger pot, I'm afraid. Pool Ball. It's not a bad hand, but if somebody's betting strongly against you, top pair is probably no good, I'm afraid. And that's an adjustment you're going to have to make if you're going to win money at this game in the long term, my friend.
Yeah. Sometimes if you ask a question and they answer it with a nice big raise, you've got to put it down.
You
but
have
where?
to listen.
Well, yes, but what if they are just bullying you?
Look at this hand. Set
Ooh.
over set.
Oh, boy.
And both players will think that they've got the other player absolutely strangled.
Mm-hmm.
And having said quiet periods followed by big confrontations, we can get 2 in a row here. Oh, that might slow it down. No, it doesn't, because he's all in.
Ooh la la.
$92, big pot for this size of game.
Mm-hmm.
3 kings beats 3 queens.
I'll say, very nice big pot there.
I had a hand.
Did ya? I have 2. I'll give you another one.
Thank you. It's the best thing that's happened to me today. Last night, where we... I can't remember it. Move on. No, I can. We were all in before the flop, and I flopped. I had ace queen. This is in the late stages of a single table tournament, and the flop came down king queen jack. He had flopped a nut flush. He had the ace 9 of spades. So he flopped the nut flush, and I've got ace queen with no spades, and I flopped a pair of queens, king queen jack. Guess how I won that hand, Karen? I'm letting you work it out.
Sorry, was that another one of your rhetorical questions?
No, that's not a rhetorical question. That's an actual question. You can guess how I won.
Okay. Can I do it after the break?
No.
Because I wasn't
It's not that exciting. Brilliant. Well, that's ruined that, hasn't it? Another fantastic section of the show, kiboshed.
I'm sorry, I was going over
I'll run
a
it by you
hand
one
in
more
my
time.
head. Okay.
Okay, one more time.
Yes.
I've got ace queen.
Yeah.
The flop's king queen jack.
Yeah.
All spades.
Yeah.
He's got ace 9 of spades, and
Yeah.
he's flopped the nut flush.
Yeah.
I flopped 1 pair. I've got no spades.
Oh, right.
What happened next?
And you won.
And I won. It's a good beat story.
It's a good beat story because you made a bet that he did not want to match.
No, all the money's in. We're all in before the flop.
If we wrote it down...
Unbelievably,
Yeah?
I hit queen, queen. I ended up with quads.
No way.
Way.
Now what?
And that's a good beat story.
Wow. Yeah, but not if you were the other guy. Then it's a bad beat story.
He shouldn't have gone all in against me. He should never do that, ever.
Going
Ever.
all in against you. Never.
And before the flop, he had the worst hand. He had ace 9, I had ace queen.
So let that be a lesson.
But it's just one of those things that people always talk about, or sometimes they talk about the internet being juiced and you get these crazy hands on the internet.
Yeah.
If you play lots of poker, you'll see everything.
That's true.
Everything.
Every possible hand combination.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you'll play a lot of them if you're me. And fewer of them if you're Nick.
Potentially true story.
Yeah, but we'll have to see after the break. The Beat the Presenter will be shown.
She's bad attitude Baracus at the moment, aren't you? Do you, Mr. T? Say I pity the fool.
I pity the fool.
Good, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Now, going back to my roots again, I believe we have I was going to say Daniel Negreanu. I wish we had Daniel Negreanu on the phone. We have John Tukalidis, and he's going to talk a little bit with us.
How bad does John feel now that he's out?
Right. Let's just go to the phones then.
Okie doke.
And once again, we have John Takalidis from the Canadian version of Poker Night Live on the line. Hi, John. How you doing?
How are you doing?
We're doing pretty good here in the studio. Thanks for joining us again.
Okay.
Last time we were talking a bit about my whole King 10 debacle. I'm now putting it behind me. I say that pretty much every single time I'm on the show, but now I really am. I'm putting it all behind me. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So you've been playing quite a bit of poker lately, though, you said?
Yes, I have been. I got to keep on my toes.
And what sort of game do you like, John?
I really find, I've been keeping a record and track of all my poker playing and, profits and losses, that sort of thing. And the game I enjoy most and is most profitable, I would say, is tournament play and 10-20 limit and 20-40 limit games. At this point, I don't have the bankroll to be going much higher at this point, and I prefer not to. But for the most part, those...
I don't know what you think about having watched your show and your experience in poker, but I think that people tend to play too high anyway. People play higher than they actually have the bankroll for, I think.
Absolutely. I think that is the case. I think you have to play within your means, and if you go beyond that, you won't play the same game. If you play with scared money or desperate money or money that you can't afford to be playing with, it will affect your game negatively 9 times out of 10. And I'm totally making up that statistic, but for the most part, it's not good.
It may be 8.5, it may be 9.25, we're not sure.
That's true.
Now, I'm told you had quite a special visitor to the show recently.
Yes. Daniel Negreanu came by the studio, and he was filming what was called the College Poker Championship. And it was a bunch of young men that were competing to win their tuition, and then, of course, the winner would get the tuition and the chance to win additional money by playing heads-up against Daniel Negreanu. And I had the pleasure of commentating throughout the entire tournament and getting to meet Mr. Negreanu.
And how is he? I haven't met him. I've watched him play several times. He seems like a very affable young man.
He actually is very friendly, very personable, a great player. He certainly made these young men feel very comfortable, and it was just so nice of him to even be a part of this. And he's all over the place. He's doing so many different things, and he makes time for a number of individuals. And he keeps his allegiance, to Canada, and he promotes it strongly in the poker world. And I think he's a great representation of the game for Canadians.
And did you have him as a guest on the show?
We didn't get him into Poker Night Live, no. But the entire Poker Night Live crew was a part of this Canadian college championships. And so we all got a chance to talk with him, and he learned a little bit about the show himself. But he has so many different appointments and things he's scheduled for that there just wasn't the opportunity. But hopefully the next time he comes into town, we will get a chance to bring him onto the show.
And what do you make of his philosophy of the game? Because he has a very quite an unconventional approach to poker, which is not so much card-based as it is playing the man, or that's certainly the impression I get.
I think that it is an important skill to develop. It's a difficult skill to learn. And so I think for those that are trying to learn the game, need to really look at the basics before they look at reading opponents. And so they would have to, understand card playing, the flop, and that sort of thing, and different strategies there. But once you get to a skill level, an advanced player can start to keep in mind those things that Negreanu preaches, which is playing the opponent. And I do agree, there's a lot to what he says. And it can certainly be effective, and it's proven effective for him. So, but he's got a natural skill and natural talent that others don't necessarily have, but it would take a while to acquire.
Yeah, I can imagine, so he must do. Now, we're going to be going to another break here, but when we come back, we'll have a bit more poker for you. And then again, at the end of the hour, we'll have more of John Takalidis on the phone, talking a bit more about Daniel Negreanu's visit to their studios, which is very exciting. It's definitely someone I'd like to meet.
Totally. Yeah. Well, he's, the young ambassador for the game, really. As John said, he does a huge amount of work promoting the game.
He does as well, as do we. Now we're going for a break, have a bit of a cup of tea or whatnot. You should as well. We'll be back very soon. Don't go away. And we are back now. Poker Night Live, it's the third hour. It's the hour we like to call the Beat the Presenter hour. Well, I do. And I was that presenter. I played that tournament, and some of you out there beat me. But we'll not say who. See, I'm thrown by the whole thing.
What?
I don't.
By losing?
Yeah. I don't lose very well, do I? No. Anyways, right, we've got emails. So we're going to go to the emails and...
Thing is, Karen.
Oh, okay.
Thing is, there's two types of people in this life.
Yes.
You know this is true. Quitters and winners. Winners don't like losing. So
Okay.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, the only way you ever truly lose is if you quit trying.
You tried and you failed. The moral is, never try.
I love that.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, Homer Simpson is a wise man indeed.
God.
In fact, yes.
That's space fact.
Yeah, now if anyone else out there wants to give me some advice, maybe not quite as Homer Simpson based, maybe Homer Simpson based, it's hard to say. You can get in touch with us here in the studio a couple of different ways. In fact, send us your questions, your emails, your comments. Tell us how addicted you are to poker, or maybe not addicted, but, you know, maybe...
Just tell us if you're playing too much.
Okay, there's a good way to put it.
That's a better way to
Yes.
put it. It's a nicer way to put it.
Yes.
You addicts.
So you can text poker to that number, or you can send an email to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And in fact, some of you have done just that. In fact, Snowblind, for one, has done just that. Email from Snowblind says, "Hey Kara and hi Nick, cracking show, will watch every night without fail. Addiction. The day I realized I was addicted to poker was the first time I ever decided to play it. I had a week off of work and decided after watching a few of your shows, which had me enthralled with the game, that I would open an account. I did this. I deposited my cash, around $400 I think, and I played for 3 days. Pretty much every hour of each day, only breaking for toilet trips and to grab a snack or a drink from downstairs." Whew, wow. Now my girlfriend wasn't very happy about me not seeing her for 3 days, but I've come a long way since then. I bought a mini fridge for my room. Well done. See, now that's the kind of thinking we like. Now that's problem solving at its best, really. Problem solving at its best.
All you need is a little Portaloo and you're golden.
Golden.
What? Oh, Karen.
What?
Good heavens.
Sorry.
I never used to think you were lovely.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about lovely, but I'm trying to find you another email
That
here.
is a good level of addiction, though, to have all your
Definitely.
resources. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 whole days. I don't think I could do that. I mean, I've played until the wee hours of the morning, but I've never kind of gone through that to the next evening.
That is pretty impressive.
It is. I don't think my bankroll would sustain that. Right. Here's another one. This one's from Dave, or TMDVD on the tables and Street Maths on the forum. It says, "Hi, Kara and Nick. Looking forward to the rest of the show and possibly playing Kara in the Beat the Presenter."
Did he?
No, I don't think you got on the table.
Oh.
2 things I think are worth mentioning. When I win a single table tournament, particularly on the TV tables where the standard of play is quite good, it gives me the same feeling as the following examples. Number 1, when Michael Owen got his hat trick against Germany. Oh, I remember where I was during that day. And the last day when we won the Ashes at the Oval. Again, wow, amazing. And,
you puck-hitting, moose-catching.
Oh, and this one I can relate to. Johnny Wilkinson's drop goal winning the Rugby World Cup. Come on! That was a beautiful day indeed. I remember watching that. Oh, that was a
I hate
beautiful
rugby.
day.
Bunch of overeducated, spoiled, rich kids running around playing a skillless game and then drinking themselves insane.
Do not be dissing rugby.
I hate rugby.
Right, no, stop. No, we're moving on. Seriously, stop. It could get ugly in here. I'm just saying.
Do you like rugby?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Lots and lots of love for the rugby and the legs. Loving the legs. No, love rugby.
It's a very sophisticated game, isn't it? Basically, it's one of those games where if you're big and quick, you're good at it. And if you're slow and small, you're bad at it. There's a lot of layers there, a lot of multifaceted
That is
layers.
not true at all.
All right.
There's a lot of different players and a lot of different positions to play and a lot of different types of players, so we're going to leave it at that.
All right.
Right. So, TMDVD says, "It can be that euphoric." That's poker. The other side of the coin is going to bed, not having a good night, and having a sulk at 2 a.m. when Poker Night Live has finished, knowing that you're up for work at 7 a.m.
We
Hey, at
do
least
that,
we give them 5 hours of sleep, 5 solid hours.
Pretty good.
Between 2 and 7.
We do that, don't we? It finishes at 2, we have a little sulk.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Have a bit of a strop because it's over again for a week or so and move on. Yeah. Right. Secondly, can I also say that there's a superb set of posts on the forum under the heading of "You know when you're addicted to poker when," and it's really, really funny. That is true, actually. I've seen it, I've read it, and it's very, very funny. So anyone who wants to take another look at that, it is on the forum, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. You go to the forum section, and there is a whole thread on "You know you're addicted to poker when."
Get some of them into the show, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah?
Some of well,
we could take a look. Yeah.
not the same ones. I'm saying the set. Like they
right.
could, you know.
No, there are some very funny ones there, so you may want to take a look at that or send in some more of your own. Now, for those of us out there who are just ever so slightly addicted to poker, like me, we're going to go and see my tournament. I believe it was a $2 tournament I eventually got into. I was trying to get into the $10, but nobody would stand up and let me in. Thanks very much, Snuggy Bug, not mentioning any names. Right, let's take a look at my tournament and see how I did. Yeah, Snuggy Bug, not mentioning any names whatsoever, but seriously, sat in my seat. There we go. I am Great Scott, and I'm sat in seat 2.
There she is. Kara, I'm performing badly. I forgot to put on the analysis glasses. They're on now. Have you got yours? We'll get them for you.
We will get them for me, because I've got my analysis glasses, and I need them.
Set of 2s for skits.
Yeah, a set of 2s, not a bad thing. Now, I do believe that the only way to learn is to hear honestly what you think. It's very important. So
Okay.
I'm going to be firm but fair, but more so on the firm side.
More so on the firm side.
I know fair is good,
Yeah.
but sometimes I do get the feeling that people, I don't know, not that you would ever pander to me, but try to make me feel better about it because I get so upset about losing. I want to see where I've gone wrong so I can fix it and then beat everyone and make lots of money and go
Okay.
pro and live in Vegas for the rest of my life eating peeled grapes off the backs of nubile young gentlemen.
Good.
That's my goal. It's good to have goals.
Well, Daniel Negreanu's worked very successfully with young boys, and maybe you'll be able to. Young men, sorry, young men.
Hey, young man. Oh, here we go.
You wouldn't
Right.
get any pleasure from being a professional poker player in Vegas. It's rubbish.
Is it?
No, it's brilliant.
I know. I was going to say that's such a lie. You lie.
I miss it like crazy.
I bet you do.
What am I doing here in this drizzly isle?
Well, at the moment, you're having a lovely time with me on the
Oh,
telly.
yeah, no, it is brilliant. But this is, 4 hours of joy in an oasis of dirge.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth. Now, not really had a hand at the moment.
It's been easy so far.
It has been. I didn't really get anything. And I think we may have missed just a couple of hands as well at the beginning of this tournament because I was just after the blinds. It took me a while to actually go down in any chips whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, again, I'm starting to think, should I limp in with things? But no, limping in is a bit silly. If I'm going to get anything, I'm going to probably bet into it and see what I can do, if I can steal some blinds. I didn't want to limp in and see any flops. Trying something new.
Trying something new.
Yeah.
Analysis glasses are on.
I've
Kara's
got my analysis glasses
glasses
on as well. You've got your analysis glasses on, and we are ready to analyze. Yep. There we go. Bottom pair for double top. They've both got the pair of 8s that are on the board.
Yeah, I mean...
Scary having bottom pair, though.
Yeah, but heads up, I mean, you're not too scared, really. He can be reasonably confident he's got the best hand. As indeed he has.
Right. Ace 4 suited. If I had been one of the blinds or on the button, I may have tried to steal with that, just to see if I can. But I figured that kind of position, way too early to try something like that, just in case.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could limp with it, but if you've taken a no limping policy decision, then that's fine.
That wasn't going to happen. I was not limping. No limping to be had.
No, clearly. I can see in your eyes, there's no room for compromise
No.
there.
That's the nice thing about playing on the show. I can actually try out some different things
Sure.
and get the feedback from the professionals.
Yeah, when did they get here? You shouldn't be afraid to try things in poker, generally. I would say that quite strongly. It's something that if I could go back and tell myself advice when in my first couple of years of playing, that would be one of the things I would say, because I spent my time in the first 2-3 years of playing just trying to play tight, solid poker, which I became very good at. But what it took me longer to do was add more flair to my game. And my advice I would give to you guys out there is to try different things when you play. Now, obviously, I don't want you to do that when you're playing in a big tournament, or if you're playing, for higher stakes than at the top of your stakes range or something like that. But why not drop down in levels and try different things? Try different ideas, things you hear on the show, things you might read in a book or a magazine. Experiment with your style. For example, Daniel Negreanu had a game he used to play sometimes where he'd play a lower limit, and the rule was he had to raise before the flop every time the action got to him.
Right.
With every hand.
With every hand?
Yeah, and then had to play as best as he could after the flop.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was just to teach himself to play aggressively and teach himself how to make marginal decisions with poor hands and that kind of thing. Now, obviously, that's going to be a very expensive session. You don't want to do that very often. You may, never want to do it. It's up to you. But you take the general point, which is that you should try different things. You should experiment.
Well, Lucy Goosey's gone all in with pair sevens early on in a tournament.
She was short-stacked, however.
Right.
And double top has called with king-queen, which is not usually the best policy.
And it's just doubled her through.
Yeah.
King 10 on the big blind.
King 10
I'm
on the big
wary
blind.
of King 10.
You're
and I know
obsessed
that's,
with King 10.
I know, but it's stupid, but it's true. It does affect how I play. And the fact that people in the chat box keep going, is it King 10? Is that what you've got? Did you have King 10 there? Damn it. I wasn't quite sure. They've just made up to the big blind. Maybe I can try to steal here, but I'm not entirely sure. And I think I was probably chatting quite a bit at this point as well.
So what do you elect to do? Elect to try and steal? Well, I like that play.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the kind of thing I'd do, to be honest. The thing is, you're absolutely right. There's two players in the pot. Neither of them's elected to raise. There's every likelihood that they're not that strong. Now, Lucy Goosey actually does have a good hand, and not only that, even worse, she's hit it.
Yeah, and I've got
So
the middle pair.
Are you going to follow through or not?
Oh, yeah.
I think you should.
Of course. I'm sticking a half pot, well, nearly half pot size raise.
Yeah.
Or bet, sorry.
Okay,
And,
now at this point you should be done with it.
I know, but it was painful, and I was thinking, that's so unfair. I really wanted that. But that has nothing to do with poker.
This is what we were talking about earlier.
I know. It
Cara.
has nothing to do with poker.
Sweetheart, listen up. This
And
is
then
what
that's a stupid thing I just did right there.
Why has that happened?
I hit the button.
Oh, okay.
It was, bad decision.
Well, you've frozen her up. That's the positive of it. I mean, she should have raised you on the flop, in fact. Or she should have bet out, because there's a very high probability she's got the best hand here, and she's played it quite timidly, which is good for you, because it potentially saves you some money.
Yeah.
You see, you get despondent about things like that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with your play there.
Okay. Well, no, the silly little 40 in there was wrong.
The 40 was a bit weird, but the 40 doesn't make
there.
any difference to you, does it? You could debate about your bet on the flop. Some people like to make a continuation bet there, and some people like to check there.
Yeah.
It's a situational thing. It depends on the play you're playing. And
doesn't it seem weak to just check on the flop, like you haven't hit it?
Yes, but you could take the view that your hand is not that strong,
right?
And your opponent's hand might be. I mean, they might have been trapping something like that,
Yeah.
and you'd rather wait for a better spot. Or you could take the view that your head's up, you've hit second pair, you might have the best hand, and they might even fold.
Yeah.
You might get them to fold a hand like 10-9. Set of fours to outrun the kings.
Ouch, that's going to be expensive for Wizard.
Yeah, very, very difficult. It looks like a perfect flop for a pair of kings.
Yeah.
Sometimes situations are bad. But yeah, I don't think there's much wrong with your play.
Okay.
And I can't honestly sit here and say I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Do you think it's a good... I don't know. I find... I vacillate between checking the flop and betting on the flop. I think it's probably a good idea to bet.
Well, again, don't look for hard and fast rules.
Of course,
Vacillating
yeah.
is probably right.
I suppose so. Try to play the situation as well, and it's
Yeah,
just,
I
even
mean,
if
I think
haven't hit the
what
flop.
I said to you earlier is right, funny enough, because I said it, and as we know,
You're always right.
well, why would I say it if it was wrong?
Of
That would be
course.
ridiculous.
Silly.
When people call you, they almost always have cards. They're not calling because they hate you or because the world's a horrible place or
Yeah.
because, you know, and there, Lucy usually had an ace jack before the flop. It's a good hand. And hit top pair on the flop. Nothing much you can do about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be revisionist when you analyse your poker.
No, you're right.
If she'd missed that flop, she wouldn't have called you a bet on the flop. So I don't think you did much wrong, apart from the 40, which is a bit weird.
It was a bit weird.
Just a bit odd. Well, Lucy Goosey's all over this one, 3 sevens,
I know.
and the
she's
flush
been
draw.
getting some great hands.
The thing about your situation now is you've got 600 chips. You're not, you're by no means out of this.
I know. People started saying at this point, "Ooh, got to make a move now." And I was like, "Why? Why do I have to make a move now?"
No,
That's
you don't.
ridiculous.
You're fine. You're fine.
Exactly. I'll make a move when I feel like making a move. I'm not going to make a move.
The blinds are
just
20-40, so you've got, 15 big blinds at the moment.
Exactly.
They're going to go to 40-80, so you'll have 8 big blinds then. So you're not
Not desperate.
not desperate.
Exactly. I'm not desperate. Not by any means.
No.
No.
I am a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks. Ace-9 for Lacoste versus King-9, and that's a flop that helps Lucy Lou.
It is, it is.
Lacoste is trying to work out whether he can try and steal this. I always bet first and ask questions later, to be honest.
Because then I suppose you know where you are. Otherwise you go into the next round of betting not really being sure.
Well, you've got to ask yourself, what does your opponent least want you to do? And very often, they don't want you to bet.
Yeah, that's true. You've always said to me, what do you hate? And it's, when people bet against me.
Yeah, you don't want to
When
play an
people
aggressive
raise
player.
my bets. Yeah, I hate that.
There you go. There's the lesson.
And there endeth the lesson.
There endeth the lesson. Now you know everything. No, you don't.
Oh, good. Oh, next week it'll be
None of
piece
us.
of cake.
None of us know everything.
No, none of us know everything. There's always something to learn. How exciting. Oh, King Jack suited.
King Jack suited, 600
Right.
chips, 20-40. What's your plan?
Well, it's far too early to be going all in with things, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you don't need to do that. You've got 15 big blinds.
Exactly. There's no need to do that. So I'm going to put in 3 times the big blind, as is my wont.
And as we can see, once again, you've run into cards.
Yep. And you're right. See, and I keep thinking that people are
Why-
just trying to bully me.
Why
but
won't you
you're
trust me
right.
about anything?
I don't
in
know.
life?
I don't know.
I mean,
You're
I
always
talk
right.
a lot of sense.
You do always get born out to be right. You do.
well, only in poker. But I mean, the truth of the matter is that until you play with very good players, I hope you put this down, by the way. Otherwise, you can get a slap.
Let me put down my...
Kara.
I checked it. Didn't I?
You called a re-raise.
Oh.
What are you doing? You want me to be honest and firm with
Should I
you?
put my coffee down so you can give me a slap?
No, it's all right. I can't physically abuse you on the show. That's...
Ow!
There's a brilliant Smith and Jones sketch they did many years ago where a man's in police questioning and there's a guy taking notes. It's just a standard interview and the suspect goes, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm recording for the official." So you have to write down everything I say. Yeah, everything. So he goes, "Ow, stop it. The 4 of you are killing me. This is police brutality," etc., etc.
Yes, exactly. Ow! Stop it.
Well, have you learned yet? So you got King Jack, and the guy re-raises. Now,
Yeah, you're right. I honestly thought they were trying to bully me, but I can see now they had cards. That was silly. I should have just let it go.
If he only made a minimum re-raise, right? If you've got more chips, then you can call the re-raise. You've got position on him. You can see what the flop brings. You can see if he checks or bets the flop. You might be able to take it away from him because he only re-raised the minimum. The problem is you didn't have enough chips to put them in where you've probably not got the best hand there.
You're right.
And you've just got to get over, Kara, this notion that people are. I'm serious. You've got to get over. I'm put my serious voice on.
Ooh.
You've got to get over the notion that people are doing things to you personally or bullying you personally or whatever. They're not doing that. They're just playing their hand, as you've seen from the action in this tournament.
You're right.
You know, if your timing's bad and you happen to run into players with hands, then that sucks, and that's when we lose at poker, when we run into people having hands. But it is just the way it's going at that time.
You're right. You're always right, and again you are right. And again I've picked up King Jack again, and it's suited again. Well,
now you are in an all or nothing situation because you've only got 5 big blinds left.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the same situation as you had with King 10 when you went out.
It is. And this is pretty much the same position as well.
And I think that you should go all in here.
I do think so
You can't let your stack get any lower. The blinds are coming round. It's a passable hand, and it's okay. Oh, good move.
Thank you.
Now what happens? Lucy's got ace 10, unfortunately for you.
Yeah. Is that going to be enough?
And she's passed it. Look at that. Are we beginning to learn, everybody? I'm serious. Look at the value of aggression.
You're right.
You've made her throw away a worse hand.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
And the point is, even if she called, it's still the right move because you've got 5 times the big blind. 3 hands from now, you're going to have 3.5 times the big blind. The blinds are going to go up. You can't sit still in that situation if you get anything remotely playable.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's. You know, you see a lot of these experts and they say it depends, etc., etc. There are some situations of poker like that. I don't think it does depend. I think you've got to put your chips in there, otherwise you're asking to just be eaten away.
Yeah, exactly. What else am I going to go all in with?
What are you going to do? Wait for aces and kings? Well, they're not going to come.
No. Chances are they're not.
So, you know, that's good play.
Okay. So I've made a couple of really silly plays. I've made some good plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've only made one bad play, and that was calling the re-raise when you had the king queen.
That was a bit silly. But you know what? I am learning. I'm certainly learning from my mistakes. And thank you for pointing it out as well. Because you're right. I do have a kind of persecution complex. And well, no, I do.
You have a little one.
I have a very small persecution complex, and I do think even when I'm playing by at home.
See, right. Well, when you play against good players, and there are a lot less good players in the poker world than people who say they're good players. There actually aren't very many, and you won't play against them until you play at much higher levels than you are at the moment. They will not look at you, analyse your weaknesses, and try and find ways of exploiting them. What they will do is they'll play the bets and the chips and their cards. And I don't mean to patronise anyone playing at low levels. That's not my intention at all. That's just the way it is. When you start playing this game for the first year or two, your focus is on trying to figure out what you've got and what your opponent's got. That's what your focus is on. You're not focused on what's Kara's weakness. How do we exploit that? How do we make sure your opponents are just not doing that.
Yeah.
So if you raise and somebody calls, you have to respect the fact that they probably have a hand. It's then your job to figure out how good that hand is and whether you've got the best hand or not. But you can't get down when somebody calls your raise or when somebody hits a hand against you.
Yeah.
Because that is going to happen for all of your poker career.
True. You're right. And you're absolutely right. And it's something I need to learn. Well, I'm building up a bigger stack here.
Yes, the fight back is on.
I could have made more out of the last hand. I really think I could have. But I was a bit scared someone else actually did have a better...
I don't think you could have made more out of it at all.
No? Okay.
There's so many...
There's so much that could have
queen
been,
on the flop. You can't.
And then there were 4 diamonds as well.
Yeah,
it's just
you don't know, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, Will?
What are you talking about? How could you make more out of that? Tell me.
I don't know really.
You couldn't. You'd be stupid to bet because.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Anyways, I'm on the comeback trail. That's
You're on the
good.
comeback trail.
Yeah.
And Lucy Goosey has the best hand here, but probably won't be able to figure that out with a pair of twos. Oh, tell a lie.
Yeah, a lot of cards are being played that I can see that aren't the greatest of starting hands. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. In fact, one of the players made some remark, he figured his ex-wife must be the dealer, considering all the bad cards he was being given. Now there's bitter.
That is bitter. Didn't take long to get to that can of worms, did it? Not even provoked.
Nope.
We'd like to hear your comments on Carer's play, if you're playing with it. Plenty of people in the chat box.
There were.
Let us know what you thought of the tournament when it was in play, and hey, anything that can help Carer
Is always a good thing.
is always a good thing.
Hey, anything that helps.
Or if you're playing in the tournament. Well, the idea is, of course, that you will learn and improve, etc., and so will the people watching. That's the idea. Now, I think you bet too much there, Carer Scott.
I know.
You've put in half your chip stack.
Yeah.
So if somebody goes all in, you've got a very difficult decision to make with a not great hand.
This
is
true.
I think you've done the right thing. I think you've stayed aggressive. You're trying to steal the blinds, and I think that's great.
That was
good.
too much.
But it's too much.
You're right.
You only need to put in
Ridiculous.
200 there because
Yeah.
it would do the same job. But let's not be too pedantic. You did the right thing.
Okay. I should, but yeah, the
it's good
amount
that
was
you've-
way off.
Even though the start of the tournament hasn't gone well for you, you've stayed aggressive. That's important.
Okay. Good, good, good. We're learning. We're all learning together.
We're all learning together. It's a beautiful thing.
Isn't it, though? It's a beautiful thing.
Well, this is a good situation for Lucy Goosey because she can raise on the button, and the cost in the big blind will think she probably hasn't got anything. Oh, she's going to limp. See, she does that a lot. She doesn't raise pre-flop, as you found out with the ace-jack. And if you were playing, this is where knowledge of players can be so valuable. You see, Lacoste will think he's got the best hand now.
Definitely.
But knowledge of players really helps, because if you've seen her do that, if you've seen her turn over ace-jack when she didn't raise pre-flop and call a raise,
Yeah.
you now know that if she limps, it's not necessarily an indication that she's weak. But when
True.
you played your hand against her earlier, you had no way of knowing that.
Yeah.
As anticipated, Lacoste does think he's got the big hand, and
Oh.
he gets lucky.
And
Well.
I didn't go out first. And this is important.
Victory
Yeah,
of
that's
sorts.
something. I'm sorry, Lucy Goosey. Still, I didn't go first. Hey.
Score.
Hey. Yeah.
Are you contemplating a little move? Or
I am,
Or are you
actually.
talking to somebody? Or is the tournament frozen? Oh. No, were you?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I could say something, but I don't know, really. I was probably chatting with someone.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've got queens.
Hooray.
Hooray. And I like having queens. I'm happy with queens. I'm thinking, yay, I can make a bit here. This is good. And once again, I overbet.
You overbet.
Yeah.
Well, you do have a limper, so I think 4 times the big blind. It might be a little bit big in the context of tournament, but it's not massively big. I mean, somebody's already limped, which helps you. Yellow drama folds.
Yay, and I take the blinds.
And a limp.
Yeah.
It's not, it's by no means a bad result.
No. Maybe I don't know. Should I have played a little less aggressively?
Well, I mean, you should raise there.
But
And
not 4 times a big
well,
blind.
4 times, there's nothing wrong with 4 times the big blind. Again, you've got to be very careful not to do things with hindsight.
Right.
I mean, if he could just as easily decide to play that ace-jack, and I don't know, what would you prefer? Would you prefer that he plays that and has a chance to hit his ace, or would you prefer that you win the money there and then? Both potentially profitable. One of them involves you potentially losing money, so I don't know.
Okay.
You did the right thing, you raised with your big hand, nobody played with you, that's one of those things.
One of those things. But I'm back to 1,000 chips, back to my starting points again.
You are?
Which is something.
Well, you've done well. You were down to 400, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Indeed, I was.
Nines for skits.
Yeah.
Queen 10 for Great Scott.
What's going to happen here? I'm waiting to see what happens. And I'm putting it down.
Blinds have gone up now, and they're starting to be a factor, aren't they? 81.60.
Yeah.
Everybody's a little bit short stacked, apart from Lacoste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Queen King versus Queen King. Poor WYSIWYG.
Queen 9 on the button.
Finally gets a hand.
Are you going to try and steal the blind? You're not.
No, I was thinking about it, but I didn't.
Well, as it happened,
I'm lucky.
you were in horrible shape.
Now
This is
these
going to be a
two.
split pot.
Yeah. Poor thing. He's gone all in. Had a good hand to go all in with, and just met the same hand. Ouch.
Mm.
Indeed.
Mm. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
Well, your situation is kind of, well, you're at a decisive point in the tournament because you've got 6 big blinds, and you need some cards.
Too right, I need some cards.
Or you need to get bold. Doesn't want to do it with the ace-4. WYSIWYG is all in again.
Yeah, I think, as we were saying at the top of the show, something that myself, like a lot of beginner players, need to learn is how to play middle to end stages of a tournament. How to step up the aggression, what to do, what you can play with, where you can play, you know, that sort of thing. Get a feel for that type of game.
Yeah, and WYSIWYG makes a flush to stay alive.
Hooray!
Hooray for WYSIWYG. Bad for you, of course. Always bad when any all-in player survives.
I know.
King 7. Well, looks like you're going to have to let the blinds come through, and
yeah.
Not good news, sadly.
Oh, well. It could have been worse. I could have played it. Yeah. Well, it would have been
True
worse.
Story.
Yep.
7-2. That's a bad hand.
It is, isn't it? It's not a good one. But you know what? He's only made up the big blind, so I might
Or were you about to do something bold?
I was seriously considering it, but I wondered if...
You have done something
I know.
bold.
I was thinking that what if he's got something?
Well,
And
that's obviously
that's
the most interesting hand, obviously. Well, now what do you do? Now you've got to play.
Go. Really?
Yeah, you've got
Pot
to play
odds.
now.
I've got pot odds. I should have played.
You've got 9-1 from the pot there.
Really? How do I know 9-1?
Well, you've put in 480. He's put in 600.
See, I don't understand
That's
pot odds.
1,080. You've got 1,200. It's 120 to use a call.
I wish I'd have called.
We'll go through that hand at the end.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand pot odds. This is something that I will need to have explained to me. And then I've gone all in with Jack 7. Such a shame.
And you need to hit.
And I didn't. I didn't.
Interesting.
Interesting. Only not so much interesting.
Not so much interesting.
Well, hopefully we all learned something there. I certainly did. Not entirely sure.
Well, tell me what you think before.
Tell me what I think.
Yeah.
I think it was kind
Honestly,
of
not being.
Honestly, I think it was it was all right. I needed to be more aggressive. No, see, even that, I don't know. That decisive hand was the one I should have. He went all in.
What decisive hand?
The second to last one.
The 7-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought, I can't play that. At
I
least leave
think-
myself some chips, you know? Play the next hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to think about is your raise in the first place, because
Really?
hold on a second.
Okay,
Easy,
sorry.
Tiger.
Okay.
So to think about,
Yeah.
all right?
Okay.
The problem that you've got is that, and this is one of those things where when we talk about understanding the end of a tournament, this is one of those things that only comes with a bit of experience. He's only got 400 chips left.
Yeah.
After he's made up the small blind.
Right.
So that makes him much more likely to play, because when you've only got 400, if you put yourself in his position, you're kind of desperate and you're kind of looking for, he actually wants to double up at some point.
Right.
So he's looking for an opportunity to stick his chips in. Having said that, I don't hate what you did at all, because your situation is, as we see him hit a pair of queens, fine. Your situation is you need to make something happen.
Yeah.
You're short stacked, so you've got to try and take opportunities to make chips. And as we discussed, when the small blind makes up and you're in the big blind, that is an opportunity to take his blind away.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then when he came over the top of my bet.
Well, when you came to the top of the bet, that's just a learning point that is something that you aren't fully familiar with yet.
No, I figured I'd asked a question. He'd given me a fairly decisive answer.
Yeah.
And I pulled out.
Yeah, and in terms of the cards, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Okay.
But in terms of the masses, well, the sort of mass of the situation, you were wrong. And the reason is that there's 1,000 chips in the pot.
Yeah.
Actually, slightly more, but let's say 1,000. It costs you 120 to call, and
Yeah.
he's all in. And that's key, because it means that he can't
Right,
bet
go,
anymore, yeah? So 120 to call, that gives you roughly 9 to 1 odds. So you've got, it's going to cost you 120 to have a shot at 1,000 chips,
Yeah.
okay? Before the flop, if he doesn't have a pair, it's almost impossible for you to be that far behind.
Okay.
Let's say he's got ace king. Sorry, this is quite a lot of education to throw at
No,
you.
go ahead, yeah.
Let's say he's got ace king,
Uh-huh.
right, and you've got 7-2.
Yeah.
Roughly, very roughly, he's a 2 to 1 favourite. Sorry, 7 to 4 favourite. Sorry.
Okay.
7 to 4 favourite. It's not even 2 to 1. He might be just 2 to 1. I know, it's extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
But that's the truth of the situation. So 9 to 1, you're getting a massively good deal for your money.
Yeah, okay.
If he's got a pair, if he's got like a pair of 10s, then you're in much worse shape. But most likely he doesn't have a pair, because it's always more likely that somebody doesn't have a pair, because they occur much less frequently than two unmatched cards.
Right.
So, and this is why I need to have a session with you about hand values before the flop and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the game changes, boys and girls, everybody, the game changes when money's going all in before the flop. Poker becomes a very different game.
Yeah.
And what's happened to you so far is that you've become a very competent player before that point, because you know the the value of hands, and you know what's a good hand to play in late position and all that kind of deal. But now we're kind of getting into the marginal decisions you have to make in tournaments.
Yeah. Okay, so it's right. So yeah, you're right. I was looking at the cards I had, which were 7-2, and thinking, I don't want to go out
And,
the
you,
tournament
and he's
with
come over the top of
7-2.
you, right? And you know that he's got a better hand than you.
Yeah.
So you folded.
Yeah.
And that's
But
logically correct.
At this point, I need
At
to
that
be
point.
thinking a bit further than that.
But now you need to look at
Okay.
the whole context of the hand, which is that there are 1,000 chips in the middle.
Yeah.
And it costs you 120 more.
Yeah.
And he's all in, so you know it won't cost you any more than that.
Uh-huh.
And you wouldn't have been out. You'd have had 300 chips left.
You're right. You're right. I don't think I looked at that. I think I just saw he's come over the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to fold.
Yeah.
I really didn't consider it as long as I should have. I think you're right. Okay.
But don't worry about it. It's just, you know,
it's good things to consider.
It's learning. It's learning what the different factors that you need to consider apart from just your cards, basically.
Yeah. You're right. Again. Once again, Nick Wealthall, you are correct. How does it feel to be right so often?
Well,
I wish I knew.
Pretty special. That's if only I could extend it to other areas of life.
Oh.
But yeah, like I said, don't worry about it.
Okay. No,
You
no,
know,
I'm not
it's-
worried. See, look at my face.
You're
Am I
not
bothered?
worried. No,
Am I
you're
bothered?
not. You're not.
I'm not looking worried,
You
am
are
I?
not bothered.
Thank you.
No.
It's
You
good
have-
to know.
You like a bit of learning, don't you?
I do. That's the only way anyone ever learns
right.
anything is to be told where they've gone right, where they've gone wrong, and why.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it a lot. Well, it was a learning experience for me.
And Yellow Drama's still alive. He's got the King 10. The blinds are
Yeah.
now very big. And players are being forced to play. King 10 versus 2 nines is roughly 50-50. A slight edge to the nines. But not very much. A couple of percent maybe. And Yellow Drama still needs to hit his hand, but he's picked up a big draw. Double top's also in this hand. And double top...
Oh.
I don't even know why double top's playing this hand, to be honest.
Bottom
Absolutely
pair?
bizarre.
Yeah.
With the 6-5. Oh, of course, because the blinds are 640, and it was about 400 or 500 more to him.
Right.
Understood. Anyway, we lose Yellow Drama. That's what you get when you come in halfway through a hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
You lose Yellow Drama.
And we are down to the money.
Money winners are here.
And WYSIWYG, who I believe 160 chips at one point,
He did.
went all in with his king queen, came up against another king queen.
Yeah, and he was just rivered there, so unlucky, but he's still in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a little unlucky there. A pair of nines for double top. Nice. Oh, he doesn't even have a chance to play them.
No, and believe me, any one of these three can win this tournament because the blinds are so big compared to their stacks.
Yeah, that each time they take down even just the blinds, it's ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh, pardon me, a flush draw for
Well,
WYSIWYG.
WYSIWYG calls and he's in trouble.
Oh boy.
He has to hit a 5 or a club. He doesn't do it.
He doesn't do it. A pair of sevens and a pair of twos.
And we're heads up.
Ooh, king 10. Very nice double top. Oh, ho, 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 ho. And this could be quite decisive. Let's see. What are you going to do, double top?
Well, the cost is in a horrible situation.
boy.
Only 880 chips left. Double top's not going to pass. I wouldn't have thought. He does.
Whoa.
Well, I think that's an error. And again, you know, there's other considerations apart from his cards. He's looking at his hand and thinking he hasn't hit a pair. But it only costs him 880. There's about 3,000 in the pot, so he's getting about 4 or 5 to 1. He's also getting a chance to win the tournament. And if he doesn't win the hand, he's still got half the chips left. So I don't think he should have passed there.
Okay.
Well, it's not I don't think. I know he shouldn't have passed there. Lacoste is in trouble. He's run into a big hand. This should be all she wrote.
They think it's all over. Well, it is now.
See, you understand socially,
I do.
don't you?
I make the joke.
Did you
with the
show your
funny.
viewers the analysis glasses, by the way?
My analysis glasses.
Check these out.
Thank you very much for the analysis of the poker.
They help, I think.
Yeah, I feel that they make me feel a bit smarter, so I use them for my poker analysis.
You do
Thanks very
look
much.
very intelligent.
Thank you. I got them in Canada while I was away at the dollar store for $1.
$1.
Maybe I shouldn't let that go.
Do you ever
really.
go in there and ask the assistants how much stuff is? It's
Yeah.
always fun.
Just because I think it's funny.
Yeah, they get that all day, every day.
Oh yes, right. And now I have an email here.
Good.
You're not the only one whose mother's watching. Hi, Mom. She sent an email in. Now this is she's AKA Moose Balls.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it though? My mother has a very good sense of humor. She says, hello Nick and Kara. How addicted am I to poker? Although not playing it necessarily, but watching Poker Night Live via the internet, because she's in Canada obviously, so she watches the streamed feed there. Let me count the many suppers that have been burned because the breaks didn't come quite soon enough, and I couldn't tear myself away from the computer screen. I ignore the telephone, refuse to answer the door, and totally ignore the screeching of the smoke detector telling me that once again I've allowed a meal to burn. Oh, my poor dad. Great show as always, and I've learned a lot about the game from watching the show and listening to all the expert advice, and have been entertained by the lively interaction between the experts and the presenters. Thanks, Mom.
Sounds very formal for your mum. I can't believe she talks like that.
Well, she's a very smart lady.
I know that. I know that. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the love, Mrs. Carer.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Do you reckon I can go around to her house for tea one day?
You know what? I should so take you to Canada because you'd love it. And my mother is the best cook in the world.
Except when the show's on, when she burns it.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
Except for those times. My poor dad, really. And it is true because it shows at supper time over there because of the time difference, obviously. So he has to wait until quite late some nights for dinner.
Bless him.
I apologize. Right, another email here. This one's from Darren, a.k.a. Willett. It says, Hi guys, I played 4 games in my local casino and won 3 out of 4, all because of Poker Night Live. Well done, Willett. I watch this program every night and I get all my tips from you. I really want to go professional as I really enjoy the game. Have you got any tips for me? Thanks.
Yeah, don't go professional.
Yeah, that would have been my tip, really.
Thanks for the email, Darren. It's always nice to hear from somebody new who's doing well because of the show. That's why we're here. I would recommend you don't go professional for one simple reason, and that is that I don't want competition. It's not that. That is that when, and it's the reason that I don't play poker full time anymore, when something you love becomes your job, it has a much less of a chance of being something that you love. That's the bottom line, I'm afraid.
That's very deep.
It's sadly true, because if something's your job, and you're relying on it for money, it becomes work. Yeah. And it's, being a poker player, going to play poker every day is one of the better things you can do for a job.
Oh yeah, gosh,
you are going to enjoy it probably more than your current job. I don't know, but probably. But it's still a job, and it is less fun than when poker's a hobby or a supplement to your income or whatever. So I wouldn't recommend it. But then again, you may love it. You may love it.
You might just love it.
But I just think poker's at its best when you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's much harder to enjoy it when your income depends on it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And if you've got a family, think of your family.
Think of the children.
Think of the kids, really. Someone once sent in a joke and said, what's the difference between a professional poker player and a large cheese pizza? Well, a large cheese pizza will feed a family of 5.
Hey, there you go. Not nutritionally, but get the base calories from it. Sure.
Right. Quick question here from Andy. Says, hi, Karen, Nick. Poker-related dilemma for you. Tomorrow I have the option of participating in a sponsored live tournament with a rather juicy first prize of $1,000, but it clashes with the FA Cup final. As a huge Liverpool fan and a huge poker fan, what should I do? Is the fact that I'm even considering missing this match an example of poker addiction? What would you do?
It is. And how big a Liverpool fan are you, really, if you're asking this question? Come on.
Would
it's
you
the FA
not?
Cup final. There's always another poker tournament. This is the FA Cup. And also, let's face it, it's going to be a cakewalk, isn't it? So it's going to be 3 or 4-0. You can't miss that, Andy, surely. Surely. There'll always be another poker tournament, my friend.
It's a sponsored live tournament with the...
Well, what are you saying? You're saying it's the only sponsored live... You don't even understand football. You're from Canada and you like rugby.
I do. Soccer interests me not.
Well, you're going to have a very long June, aren't you, with the World Cup?
Yeah, I know.
Andy,
I
think you should watch the match. I've got to be honest.
I think you should tape the match, make sure no one tells you what happened.
No, that's the same. That is exactly the same, watching it on tape.
Well, yeah, we'll play in the tournament. Tape it, watch it later. I think that's the perfect solution. How is that not?
That's the girls' solution, isn't it?
Oh, give me a break.
There is just one coming up, isn't there?
Yeah.
Hey!
Well, in fact, first we've got our very own Canadian poker genius, Mr. Tuckalidis, on the phone again.
Talk to him about ice hockey.
Oh, how exciting! And about Canadian things,
all
and
that
moose
stuff.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and
let's
maple
do that.
leaves.
And for the last time tonight, we have John Tuckalitis from the Canadian Poker Night Live on the line.
Hello.
Hey. Now, the last time we were talking to you, we talked a little bit about the visit you had from Daniel Negreanu. Just before we move on to a different topic, I want to know, what is the one thing that you're going to take away from his visit? Is there one thing that you learned that you think is really going to inform your game?
Well, I would say that modesty is an important element to any level of success, and he certainly exhibits that in his working with these young men. I would say that's an important part of it. As far as skill level of my game, I don't think I really had an opportunity to pick up on his habits. I mean, he certainly was a talker, and that's something that takes time to develop, and it really has to be in your personality. And it's something that I do, but otherwise it's more his persona, I think, that is important to pick up on, and how you can take whatever level of success that you achieve and do some good with it.
Well, that's a really interesting point to make.
I think one of the interesting things about Daniel Negreanu is that he has no barrier between his personality and the way he plays poker, and he brings his personality to the table, and he has the confidence to do that, which a lot of people don't have. It's quite a difficult thing to do, but if you can do it, it's definitely an asset.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So, John, seen any good movies lately?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I saw a really good movie, Thank You for Smoking, recently in the theater. I highly recommend it. It's about the life of a tobacco company lobbyist, and he certainly puts a positive spin on things, but it goes through ups and downs. Highly recommend it. And then I saw the Enron scandal documentary, The Smartest Guys in the Room, and I thought it was also excellent, and certainly opened my eyes. Well, I shouldn't say opened my eyes. I always suspected it, but to what can go on in the corporate world when people are in a position of power.
I saw that movie, and I thought there was some relation to poker, in that basically that was a situation where they got away with. It's like they were in a big tournament and they were stealing, literally, actually, and they didn't know when to change gears and stop, or it became a habit, didn't it, basically? Absolutely.
One of those players at a table that keeps telling you, "Oh, I've got trips, I've got two pair," but the entire time, it's all a lie, and they really have nothing underneath. And eventually, they get caught stealing, and they pay the price. And it's good to see that at least someone was set as an example for others to perhaps stay in line. But I think human nature sometimes dictates what's going to happen more so than anything else.
Somebody asked me a question the other day, John, which I thought was quite interesting, which I'm going to put to you now. Have you ever felt guilty about taking anybody's money at the poker table?
I wouldn't say I felt guilty, although I think I legitimize it to myself at times. I have seen people at the table that I have a little bit of sympathy for, and but these are grown men or women that are there, and they know the risks involved in what they're doing. And so I'm taking the same risk, and they have no sympathy for me in the event that they take my money. And so I think that understanding is implicit, and so you kind of have to separate yourself from that and just look at it as this is a game, and we each have equal risk involved here, and so what happens happens.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Personally,
I have to be, but I do understand. I mean, I haven't really been in a position where I had, it was a real concern for me. For the most part, I'm just excited about taking money from the table. But
that's true. That's honest.
And I know you do a lot of work for charity, John, so it's not a big problem.
I always feel like I'm the one that deserves the sympathy.
There you go. I think we all feel like that a lot of the time. It's a cruel game.
Yeah. I know I feel like that a heck of a lot of the time.
Kerry, you're winning at the moment. What's your problem?
I know. I'm actually feeling quite good about that. I am winning, a fair amount at the moment, although the losses are still there. But as you've said, losses are part of poker. You have to learn from the losses, right?
That's right.
Failure's not always a bad thing.
Well, it is, but
yeah.
It's character building.
It's character building right now. We're going for a break, but we're going to be right back after it, so make sure you stay tuned.
Thank you, John.
and welcome back to the final hour here for Poker Night Live.
It is.
Indeed.
I'm excited.
I am as well.
It goes so fast.
It kind of does. Time flies when you're having fun. Now, we've done cash games, we've done single table tournaments, we've done the Beat the Presenter slot, we've had lots and lots of great emails, texts, and fantastic comments and commentary from you.
Right.
What are we missing?
Strippers? I don't know what.
I was kind of thinking multi-table tournament, but
oh yes,
we'll go
we're
with
missing
strippers.
that.
Okay, we're also missing
that.
strippers. If someone in the gallery can hear me, apparently we're missing some strippers.
You can dial them in nowadays.
Really? Interesting.
Can I just say that I'm blind?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We swapped analysis glasses, and let's see how it goes.
You're feeling a bit queasy.
I'll probably faint within 5 minutes.
Well, I'm the one who has to read the emails.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks for all your emails, guys. We've had loads, haven't we?
We have, and it's great to hear your stories about how the lengths that you go to feed your poker interest, shall we say, rather than addiction. Right, email from Simon, aka Tirade, says, "Hey, Kara and Nick, just a quick question. I was playing in a tournament and some Americans were using the term coffee housing in relation to a play. What does this mean? If anyone would know, it's the all-knowing, all-seeing poker wizard, Nick. Is that enough sucking up now? Yeah, it might be. Thanks again. Great show, guys."
Can't have enough. Well, it's very different from teabagging, which is not coffee housing. Coffee housing is an American term for talking during a hand.
Oh, I see.
Talking during a hand to get an advantage.
That makes sense.
Basically.
Oh,
Simple
to
as
get an
that.
advantage.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that happens to me quite a lot. People are asking me questions about things. Oh, didn't you wear that top last week? And I'm going, oh, it's my time to play again.
Yeah, it's not quite what it usually is, but usually there's stuff like, you have no chance in this hand. And, but yeah, and it's that old thing about whether, it's a subject of debate, whether you should be able to talk during a poker hand or not. And I think that it's actually a big part of poker.
Okay.
Talking during the hand. And trying to misrepresent your hand, etc., etc. But in many British card rooms, coffee housing, which is also called moody, I don't know why, or talking about the hand in any way, shape or form, is not allowed. And well, actually, several card rooms are very strict about it, and they'll kill your hand if you do it.
Wow.
Seriously,
that is quite strict.
You'll get a warning, and then
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think that's right. I think it was Mike Caro, one of the Americans, said, you can have poker without talking, but you need another name for it because it's not poker, it's a different game. And I think your personality, using your personality, having to withstand somebody else's coffee housing, finding techniques to deal with it, I think it's all part of poker, but some people don't. I mean, what do you think? Poker at Poker Night Live, of course. What do you think? Online, you can still do it. It still works in the chat box. You can still put people off or gain an advantage over them. You do have a key option, which you can turn it off. Exactly. If you don't like it, if it's not how you want to play the game, then you can turn the chat off online.
But for a lot of people, part of the draw of online poker is the kind of community of people that you build up by playing different people over and over again. There are certain, sites or certain tables which are renowned for being quiet tables or quiet sites where people don't talk and banter.
Yeah, I think it's it can be great. I think it can also be one thing about if you're in a casino, say in an American casino where they allow chat. You see, I've been in a lot of pain for minutes, and I'm pushing through.
I can't deal with the pain.
Because I look good. If you're in an American casino where there's a lot of chat, you can't abuse another player.
Right.
So it's kind of sanitized chat, and it's just about the game, it's part of the game. If you're online, unfortunately, you do get people that will abuse
you absolutely
other people. And then, obviously, it's good that you can turn off the chat. So, anyway.
Yeah, it's a shame to have to, but at least the option's there. People think they can hide behind the anonymity of being online. Well, just don't listen to them then.
Yeah. Outplay them. Let your cards do the talking.
Exactly. And you got to love it when that happens and you outdraw them or something and then it's like, ugh. So there. Haha. Anyways, one more email here. This is from Dave, a.k.a. Snuggybug, who I, quite rudely, I think in the last hour, said took my seat That's a bit unfair. He didn't really take my seat, but anyways. He says, hi, Nick and Kara. The evidence of my addiction is being on holiday and making excuses to find an internet cafe to check my email. To check your email, right. Of course, there's always some time left over, so I have to load up my favorite poker site and get my fix. The last time was during a Caribbean cruise, and I found a cafe at a stop in Aruba. I had 30 minutes left after checking my email, and I managed to win $16. It made my day, as it only cost $6 for the hour online. And I get to say I played poker in Aruba. Cheers, that's from Snuggybug.
Good call.
Ooh-ah.
Good story. There's this brilliant shot of, at a major poker tournament a couple of months ago, I wish I could remember which tournament, of the corridor outside the main tournament room. And obviously with Wi-Fi, you can get onto a network within a certain range.
Yeah.
And obviously the situation was that there was a network that people could get into, but it only went up to a certain range. So you had all these poker pros that bust out of the tournament, literally sitting on the floor in the corridor, maybe 20 or 30 in this one corridor. It's a very funny picture, all obsessed.
Aww.
Obsessed. Yeah.
An obsession.
Snuggybug played poker in Aruba.
Yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
And made a $10 profit.
Always a pleasure.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, well, that's a good story. Let us know what your stories are. Maybe you've played poker in a very strange location just because you needed to get your fix.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel a little bit sick.
Yeah, you can take the glasses off now, although
Really?
they do look fabulous on you.
Thanks.
And they kind of go with your shirt and everything.
I look like a gay Finnish fashion designer.
Oh my God, you so do.
Yeah. We had fun with it. We put a little bit of this here. That's not finished. It's just. Can we go back to some poker, please?
Okay, we have the final table of our multi-table tournament, and that is something I would love to see. You, however, if you leave the glasses on,
won't be able to see
we'll
anything.
never see again.
No, I'll put my real analysis glasses
That's probably
on.
a good idea. All right, let's take a look at the tournament. Oh.
Bit of final table action for you guys into the small hours
Ooh-ah, ooh-ah.
of your weekend.
That's right. Well, my favourite, or one of my favourite players, El Pig, went out just before the money. I think, 32 places paid here, and he went out 38th or 36th or something. And unfortunate, but, you know, these things happen. Indeed they do.
John Boy Rebel, we've been watching him play in the cash game, and he's been playing with quite a open, flary style. So we'll see if he carries that over. He is the chip leader at the moment.
More flair than a pair of 70s trousers.
Good, good.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm
you're trying
thinking
out
on my
some
feet
new
here.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying out some new stuff. How's it going?
It's all good. What are they playing for, Kara Scott?
For quite
For money.
a bit of money, in fact. In fact, this is a $2,000 added, $10
Added free
MTT.
money, 2,000
Exactly.
free money.
So it's not just the entrance fees that's making up the pot, but there's an extra $2,000 added. And considering there are only 122 entrants in this, it's a huge addition.
It is.
Massive. It more than triples what the actual prize pool would be.
That is extraordinary. You will find very few tournaments where that ever happens.
I know, I kind of wish I was at home playing in this one.
You're addicted.
I am, aren't I? Sad, it's so sad. But the person who comes out first here, the last man standing, if you will, is going to go home with over $800 in their tidy little account.
For $10.
For a $10
That's
buy-in,
fantastic.
$10 plus the $1 rake. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Have you started playing
$800.
multi-tables yet?
I haven't played any yet. I haven't had the time, I have to be honest.
Yeah,
the amount of
okay.
time I've got
Yeah.
tends to be quite limited. So
That
I
is a
go onto a
problem.
single table, yeah. I still haven't played a cash game either.
You will never look back when you start playing multi-tables.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't
You
wait.
get a lot more poker, a lot more interesting situations than a one-table tournament.
Good.
So blinds of 800 and 1600, and you'd be looking to have 20,000 chips to be comfortable, and all of our players have. So what this means is there's plenty of play left in this tournament. Now that doesn't mean the tournament final table will take a long time, because sometimes players play fast, regardless of whether they've got a lot of chips or not, and we've seen that on a lot of these final tables. So let's see how this pans out. But the players are not under pressure here. They can afford to play quite a controlled final table. Just while we wait for this to get to the nitty-gritty, I would like to say hello to anyone that I played with Castle last weekend. Mm-hmm. I had a great time playing up there, as I always do. And to all of you watching in the UK, oh, look at this big move from John Wealthall. I'll break off. I warned you about this man.
Oh, you did.
He plays an exciting attacking style of poker.
With a lot of flair.
That is a powerful move. It's a risky move because he's putting so many of his chips at stake. And if Shine's got a real hand there, a big pair or something like that, John Boy's going to lose a lot of chips, but he's backing his judgment. And aggression, you know, fortune favours the bold. I'll keep commentating because we've got another situation here. Ace-King versus tens. Bet the lot should move in here, and he does. And Russ will call, and we're 50-50 for the money.
Whoa.
Bet the lot doubles through and almost knocks Russ out, cripples Russ.
Ah, that is so painful.
So we said they got plenty of chips in relation to the blinds. This is no limit hold'em. It doesn't matter. They're still going to push them in. So yeah, hello to anyone I played with, and I had a great time. I'd recommend anybody that loves poker to go and play poker in Newcastle. The people are friendly, the poker is fast and exciting, and hospitality is great. So much free food in the casinos up there.
Oh, that's really nice. Free food?
Yeah.
I'm so there.
Yeah, you should be. It's fantastic. It's the best place to play poker in the UK, in my opinion. There, I've said it.
Wow, you've staked your claim there.
It's the friendliest and, you know, the most fun.
Two pair for how not to against Bet the Lot's pair twos. Yep, somewhere I haven't played, but I want to, is a place called, I believe it's Big Slick in Croydon. A friend of mine is actually one of the dealers there. My lovely friend
there.
Charlie. I think it's quite a new place.
Let's go.
We should do. We really should do. Yeah, my friend Charlie, if anyone ever plays there, is the most beautiful dealer
Is it
in the place.
It's a card room?
I believe
Or
so,
a
yeah.
casino? Or a
Card room.
Card room,
Yeah,
okay.
I believe.
Have not heard of it.
No, well,
It's
it's
new,
quite
it's
new.
new, okay.
Yeah, it's quite new.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Russ has found Ace-King, stuck it all in. He needs to hit. He has hit. And this is the beautiful thing about this crazy game of No Limit Hold'em. He could still win the whole tournament.
Yeah. He's crept back up to 2 times the big blind. And he's got Queen 6.
I'm not saying he's likely to win the
Well,
tournament.
no, but he might.
I would not put my chips in with Queen 6, even in his situation, because he's got 2 more hands. And the statistical odds are he will see a better hand in 2 more hands than Queen 6. Don't look at me like I'm lying to you.
You'd think by now I'd learn
It's never going to
to
happen,
just
is it? It's
listen to
never
what
gonna
you're
happen.
saying.
There you go, pair of 8s. Knew it.
And you were correct again.
Just listen and learn, woman.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting now. He's got a pair of 8s. He's got the best hand at the table.
Is anyone going to believe him?
Well, Panini is going to have to play because it only costs him 2,000
Yeah.
more, and he's getting 3 to 1 on his money. And if Russ doesn't have a pair, that's good odds. Thomas is even contemplating it. And Russ is in a great shape here. It's, you know,
True. If another 8 comes down, giving Panini a pair.
well, that's very unlucky.
trips
Panini's
for
swapped
Russ.
a straight draw, and it's come. That's
No.
Well, I don't know offhand what the odds are on that hand, but 8s versus 8-7,
Bad luck.
Russ will be a huge favourite, and he's gone. We could have seen a comeback there. We're not going to,
No, but he does take home almost $100.
which is not bad, is it?
Well, it's
Better
it
than-
isn't not, but it isn't not bad.
Yeah. You're so clever.
Well, you know, that's what they tell me. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Which job's that?
It's my one where I'm a nuclear scientist.
Oh, yeah.
That one there, yeah.
John Boy Rebels got the jacks. I also should point out, I should have pointed out this much earlier in the show, but me and my little sis played in a tournament in Newcastle, and she's one of my little poker prodigies.
Yeah.
Well, Shine's going to get complex here because John Boy Rebel's going to come over the top, and that's the second hand in the row that he's done that to Shine. And Shine's going to start thinking, he hates me.
But
But
we
John
can
Boy's
see
got cards.
he's just playing his cards.
The first time he wasn't, but the second time. Second time was. We entered the tournament, 60-odd entrants into the tournament, and I split Well, I ended up splitting the pot with either four other people, I think. So technically I came joint third or something, I can't remember. And Helen was seventh. We both made the final table, both made the top 7. Chances against that very remote. We had a great time.
Huh.
Although I got a lot of insults because at one stage of the final table she had more chips than me. And obviously they all knew I was on telly. No, she was just loving it.
Oh.
They all knew I was on telly and they all were trying to knock me out so that she would beat me. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, hello to anyone I played with, and I did have a very good time. A7 bet the lot. That's good enough for a raise, surely. Down to 6 players in our multi-table tournament. Have we got any emails we want to do over the top of this, Kara?
Yeah, I was just going to find this one. In fact, I will.
Blinds are 1,000 and 2,000 now.
It's funny you were talking about that picture of all the experts playing on Wi-Fi, which if anyone out there isn't entirely computer literate, just means, as Nick said, that your computer, if you have a laptop, it will hook up to the internet. Wi-Fi just...
No cords.
Yeah, no cords. There we go. It's cordless internet connection.
Cordless internet.
Right, so this email from Will says, "Hi, Karen, Nick. I played outside our local bar, Wi-Fi, before I got my home connection. I used to play until 3 or 4 a.m. and became a bit of a local celebrity. I live in southern Spain and it's freezing here, winters at night, contrary to popular belief. I played in 2 jackets, 2 pairs of socks and gloves.
Brilliant.
And they even left the light on for me when they closed. Oh, yeah, I became a bit of a local celeb.
Is commitment to the game. Will, we are seriously impressed.
That I am.
I think it's email of the night, doesn't he? That's very good.
I just wish there was a picture of him huddled up outside this closed bar.
Will, do you have a picture?
I'd love
Because we will totally put it on the show if you have.
Oh, definitely. That's so funny. Yeah, he says he's even organising a tournament with the locals soon, hopefully in the warmer weather. Well, it doesn't have to be outside. You know, if it's a tournament, you're organising it.
Yeah,
find a venue.
somebody should point out to Will that you can get internet in houses now.
Yeah, it's amazing, this whole new thing. Oh, thanks for the email, Will. That's quite funny.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
It is amazing, the lengths that people will go to.
Well, I think also things are going to change quite soon because more and more people are going to get used to using their phones for the internet. And as there are phones that you could do it on now if you wanted, but it's not quite there yet in terms of it being everywhere. But very soon people will be playing internet poker on their phones.
Yeah.
And then jobs are going to be lost.
True.
Lives are going to be
Marriages
wrecked. Because you'll be able to play anywhere. It's going to be...
You'll be on your 30th anniversary dinner with your wife, and under the table you'll have your phone, and you'll be like...
Yeah.
Oh, that's just the end of so many things.
Don't blame me after 30 years. Sorry.
Ouch, bitter.
Sorry, yeah, it's been a long... Aces for Thomas. He set the trap by limping in before the flop, and how not to is not falling for it. Thomas can't get chips with his aces. Sometimes that's the way.
And a king-queen against 9s in the small blind. Oh, is how not to going to think 9s are enough to match that?
Well, he might, you know. He might. It's a difficult decision because John Boy Rebel has been so wild. He makes these massive raises. There's no reason to raise 32,000 there.
Oh, no.
A diamond gets him out or a 9. Doesn't happen. Well, John Boy Rebel's got away with that one. 50-50 before the flop. Very tough decision with the 9s there because it is a chance to double up. He knows that he might well be 50-50 and... but he could be better than that, you see. He knows that John Boy doesn't need a good hand to do that with. If John Boy's got, say, ace-6, he's better than 50-50 with the 9s. So, tough decision. Don't know whether he made the right one or not, as it is. He's headed for the sidelines in 6th. Tell him what he's won.
He's won $128. Yay!
Kiss my face. Not literally.
I wasn't going there.
Well,
I might have been.
yeah. Panini has John Boy Rebel on toast. Sorry. Sorry, don't laugh at that, Kara. It's late.
Oh, it's late and you're
It's
a funny,
late.
funny man.
Well, once in a while. Now, will John Boy Rebel do what he's done to Shine twice before and come over the top of him? He doesn't. This time Shine's going to take the blinds.
Go for it, Shine.
He
Shine
isn't.
on.
You crazy diamond. Did you ever like Pink Floyd, Kara, when you were young?
I did. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I like Pink Floyd. I don't know a huge amount.
That's fair.
Brick in the wall kind of thing.
All that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like. Yeah, I am a fan.
Well, John Boy Rebel is a very hard player to play against because he's so erratic. I mean, he's got 9-8 suited on the button. He's the chip leader. You think he's bound to try and steal the blinds, and he passed. It's very hard to predict what he's going to do. And those are the players, let me tell you, poker audience, those are the players that are hard to play against. I don't mind playing against anyone. Loose player, maniac, tight player, passive, I don't mind because I
Yeah.
can figure out a way to get chips out of them. The one type of player that I don't and no poker player wants to play against is someone that's unpredictable. Well, here we go. Shine's got the best hand. John Boy Rebel needs to hit and doesn't. Well, he made a big call there with Queen Jack and it hasn't helped him. Unpredictable players are extremely difficult to play because you can't ever, it's extremely hard to put them on a hand.
Yeah, because you can't predict them.
That's it.
Unpredictable players are hard to play
Unpredictable.
because you just can't predict what they're going to do.
Well,
Put that on a t-shirt.
the thing is, winning poker is based on, I probably won't, winning poker is based on manipulating your opponent based on what you think he has and what you think he thinks you've got.
Right.
And both those questions are very hard to answer.
Yes.
If you're playing somebody that's wild and unpredictable.
Yeah, that is true enough. Well, Bet the Lot here has Ace Queen. What to do, what to do?
Standard raise will do the job, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, John Boy Rebel's making interesting raises. When he does raise, it's 32,000, it's 16,000, it's
Yeah.
3,000. It's, you know, well, it's never been 3,000.
Yeah, that's massive raises.
But-
And
Yeah,
hard to know
interesting.
whether he's just having fun and just likes to mess about, or whether he's got some kind of game plan. Well, he's hit a straight draw here, and Bet the Lot's missed. So if John Boy Rebel bets, he could well pick this up, and he doesn't. You see, I would have guessed he'd have bet there. So very difficult to predict what he's going to do. Well, now John Boy Rebel might raise. Good potential for a check raise. There you go. I did predict that one. And I think Bet the Lot has to fold now. Now he calls. Oh, and John Boy Rebel hits. Well, Bet the Lot read the situation right. He read that John Boy Rebel was on a steal or messing about or didn't have a complete hand. Called with no pair, and it was a very good call, but unfortunately John Boy Rebel hit. And Bet the Lot has hit the rail. 5th place finish. Tell him what he's won, Kara.
Well, in fact, in 5th place, he takes home $193. Yay!
It's all right, isn't it? $10,
Yeah.
200 back.
It ain't bad. That's not so shabby. That's not so
Delighted.
shabby at all. Now, there's someone else out here in the ether, in the land of the interweb, who wants Nick's wise counsel.
Okay.
This is
it's
a man-
quite a long email. Can you pray see it?
I can try. I can try.
More than happy to help.
Okay, it's from Richard. And Richard said that he's... Oh,
Sorry,
so
just let's...
watch this.
Jack,
Yes.
Jack versus Ace Jack. Let's see what happens. I think Shine's all in here, isn't he? He is. And Thomas has to call, and he hits the ace right off the bat.
Oh, boy.
Very disappointing for Shine. And this is what late stages of a tournament are like. They come down to big confrontations, and Shine had by far the best of it. But Thomas still had about a 25-30% chance to win. Sorry, anyway. Richard wants some advice.
He does. He says he is a complete novice at playing poker, but he's an avid viewer of the show and has tried to teach himself the basic principles of the game before getting involved by listening to people who know what they're talking about. And I believe that is referring to you, Nick.
Great.
As one of them.
Good,
Yes.
great.
Right. And then he goes on to say he started to play 20-pound sit and goes 2 weeks ago. And I just think,
That's playing,
wow.
that's playing very high.
Isn't it? I mean, if he's a complete novice playing 20-pound sit and goes.
Well, I suspect that he's doing that because he can afford to.
Right.
I hope he can, anyway.
I hope so too.
But if you've got, if you've got a decent amount of money or a job that pays you a decent salary, £20 is not a huge amount. The problem is that at the £20 level, he'll be playing against people who've got way more experience than him.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not so much the money, it's the fact that he'll find it tough to do well.
I think it's the money as well myself. I just think that's really, really high.
Money's relative though, isn't it?
I suppose it is.
Well, it is. There's no suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. I look at it and I just
If
think,
Richard's a millionaire, £20.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
He's a big old millionaire fish. But he goes on to say he's not really that much of a fish because he says
Yeah.
he's won a few. He's finished second a few times,
Well,
but
that's
even
what
I know
we
he's
wanna
doing
hear.
quite well here. But even when I won, I was far from pleased with my play. For example, last night I was playing a tournament where I was in a good situation of being chip leader, 3,800 chips, nearly 40% of all the chips. The blinds were 5,100, and 5 players were still left. I had a good table image of only getting involved when I had something and folding cheaply if I didn't hit. So far, his thinking on the matter is pretty good for a novice.
Yeah, sure.
The hand which I played, and I would value Nick's wise insight, was as follows.
Here we go, just revving up the big motor.
Here we go. I had ace-9 on the button.
Yeah.
Everyone called the big blind. The flop came down 7 ace ace. Right, so now he's got triple aces. Nice.
Sure.
It was checked. I raised. One player folded. The turn was a 2. When the action came around to me, I bet the pot, which was called. The river was a 3. There were no straights or flushes on the board, therefore I again bet the pot. Another player folded, and the player in front of me went all in, costing me 1,000 chips to call. My thinking of what he had was nothing, and he's trying to represent aces. Unlikely. It's unlikely that he has a pair. Has he hit trips?
I guarantee you he's got an ace.
Right, when he's
without,
saying
without
it.
reading the email.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you're very smart then, Nick.
No, I'm not smart.
Yeah.
I'm not smart. It's just not a difficult read.
Really?
Yeah, no, people won't. It's very, very rare that somebody would bluff on the river with 2 aces on board. It's much more likely they've been slow playing an ace.
Even if there's 2 on the board, one in your own starting hands, that makes it pretty unlikely.
We've missed a player going out, Kara.
No.
I do apologise, everyone at home. We are bad. Getting wrapped up in this email. Shine has left us in 4th place.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, Shine.
What's he gone home with, Kara?
In 4th place, he goes home with $257. So that's pretty darn good. Well done, you.
Well done, you.
And
We're
a
down
big
to
pat on the back.
3-handed.
Yeah.
Sorry, do read the rest of the email. I apologise for going off on one.
No, absolutely. Let me see if I can get back to it here. He's saying that he thinks that he said, an ace which could outkick me, I thought was the least likely. And my logic was, we're 5-handed, I had 1, there were 2 on the board, so my reasoning was, it's hard to believe anyone else has the other one. Faced with the situation, it was so difficult to fold trip aces, but I knew if I called and lost, I'd end up short-stacked. But I could knock him out of the tournament and win a really good pot. I called, and he had ace-king. Should I, given the resistance to my raises, have given him the benefit of the doubt and folded rather than risking so many chips?
Does he say how many chips he'd have left if he folded the hand? Because that is an important consideration.
No, I don't believe he does.
And John Boy Rebel's made one of his big raises. He's got top pair here, and this will be successful. He'll take down a decent pot, and Panini will be our short stack.
Oh boy, he's toasted.
Okay, it's a marginal decision, Richard. It's not an easy decision. How many chips you'd have left is a factor. If you pass this hand, where does that leave you? And you haven't said that. So that's one of the things you need to, when you make any call in a tournament, when you're in a situation where you're facing a bet on the river and you either have to call that bet or fold the hand, one of the things you should be thinking about is, if I throw this hand away, where does that leave me in the tournament? And if it's going to leave you short stacked, then that should influence you more towards calling. Yeah, thank you, yeah. Because if you pass, you're uncompetitive, whereas if you've got a chance of winning a big pot, that makes you competitive. So that is a factor. What I would say to you is that despite the fact that it's unlikely he has an ace, because you can see 3 of the aces, 2 in the middle and 1 in your hand, that is actually kind of a subject of passing interest, because the action in the hand would scream at me that he has got the other ace.
Right.
Now you can sit there and say it's unlikely mathematically, and it is, but that doesn't change the fact that he's got it.
Right, it's not impossible.
No, and what I want you to do, Richard, is I want you to think for me, what hands could he hold that he would play like he's played.
Right.
So my understanding is he's called your bets and then he's bet out on the end.
Yeah.
Right? That is not a bluff.
Yeah.
The only way that's a bluff is if it's some kind of busted draw, and there is no real busted draw out there.
Oh, here we go. It's all in.
Panini short stacked, had to go with something. King Queen looks like the best hand, but he's walked into a bigger hand, and we're heads up. Panini is out. Wish I'd saved the toasted joke till now, but I haven't. What does he go home with, Kara?
In third place, he goes home with a toasty little $354.
There you go. Now.
Right. Now.
We think he's got the ace. He could be bluffing, but I would only put it at a 10-15% chance of him bluffing.
Okay.
Just because of the nature of the board and the nature of the way he's played the hand, I just think it's so likely he's got the ace.
Right.
Richard then faces a very difficult decision because he's got ace-9, which is in the middle. So he would then have to figure out, and well, here we go, straight away. Thomas is going to win this tournament.
Oh my goodness.
First, second hand of the heads up. Was it the first hand? Goodness me. Well played, Thomas, and we saw all the way through. John Boy wasn't afraid to put his chips in.
True enough.
In they went with the ace, which is not a bad hand heads up, but not as good as a pair of tens. What was the final disposition on the money at the end there?
On the money, well, the top prize got just over $800, which is fantastic. And second prize, $547. So that's a fair difference.
Good return.
There. It's a good return. It's a fair difference between first and second as well. So it was definitely worth fighting that out.
And you saw there how fast the end of a tournament can go.
Absolutely.
And it's fascinating how the end of a multi-table tournament is where you do need all of your poker skills because they vary so much. Sometimes you'll play the end of a tournament, like the one I played in Newcastle at the weekend, where everybody suddenly becomes very tight and doesn't want to take risks. And the final table goes on for hours. Other times you'll play like that, where we went from 4 players to the end of the tournament in 10 minutes.
Blink of an eye.
It's no limit hold'em, it's very unpredictable. So Richard's hand with the aces, he's then got a very difficult decision, because he's got ace-9 which is in the middle, he's got to figure whether he's out-kicked or not, and then he's got to decide whether to call or not. I think it's a very, very difficult hand to pass because of what he said, which is that there was no raise earlier in the hand, no raise pre-flop, critically, if you rewind the hand. So his reasoning is not far off in that, you know, if somebody's got a bigger hand than ace-9, ace-10 upwards, you would expect to have known about it before. So you can have sympathy with him calling. Whether you call or not in that situation depends massively on the cost of the call and how many chips that leaves him with, and he hasn't said that, so it's hard to know. But you shouldn't, your reading of hands shouldn't be based on the likelihood of him, how can I put it? The bit where I think your thinking has been skewed too much is that you said, I've got an ace, there's 2 aces in the middle, he can't possibly have the 4th ace.
Yeah.
Well, it's not likely he's got the 4th ace in purely mathematical terms, but in terms of the betting, it's very likely he's got the 4th ace.
So it's not, all the information that you have has to include what he's done with his hand.
Well,
it can't just be basically, I've seen 3
on the
other
chances
aces.
of it, but yeah, it's an interesting hand. Thank you for sending it in. It's not an easy situation, and whether or not you should have called is very difficult for me to know because I don't know how many chips you would have had left. I think I would, if I had enough chips left so I was going to be competitive in the tournament, I would probably call, expect him to show me an ace, and hope that he had a worse kicker than mine.
Yeah.
If I could get away from the hand and I'd still have good chips, there's a possibility I'd fold it, but it's a tough fold to make.
Yeah, it is. Trip aces, that's a tough fold.
That's a tough fold.
But I suppose that's the way it is. If there's 2 on the board, anyone could really have that other one.
Poker's a situational game, Kara. And sometimes you have to fold big hands. I'm not saying this is one of them, but you have to be open to the possibility. You should certainly have gone through that process. But yeah, good luck, Richard. It sounds like you've got a good aptitude for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like if you are a novice, as you say, I'm pretty sure you said you were, that's the kind of thinking that you need to have. You're thinking about what your cards are. You're thinking about what the other person's cards are. You're trying to think about odds and whatnot. You're trying to be tight and aggressive. You're thinking about your table image. You're doing fairly well from the sounds of it. So
totally.
God, well done.
Good luck. Keep in touch. Let us know how you get on.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear. That's fantastic. Now we have another one here, an email from Nilma Boy, I'm thinking. That's how that goes. And he says, "Hi, Karen and Nick. Just a quick email to say to folks, never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Fight the fight.
Yeah, fight the good fight.
Don't quit till the job's done or something.
Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, go Liverpool."
Good call.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I played in my first TV MTT last night. Well done. He says, "Coming up to the end of the first hour, I was in deep trouble. I have one big blind under the gun, and I get dealt big. Instead of doing the normal all-in from this post, I just called, hoping for some callers and to hit the flop. Luckily, 2 aces came on the flop, and I managed to double up. From there, I went on to finish third." Wow, that really is a chip in a chair story.
Cool.
Yeah, it was interesting watching the replay to see where I may have made errors, but thankfully, I made only one small one. Really? Wow, good for you. Great show as always. Kindest regards. P.S. He says, "What's so great about the King 2 Dr. Tom and James were having a great fight about?" You know what? I saw part of that fight, but I don't get it.
I mean, those guys are basically drunk when they do the show, aren't they? They very rarely do a show sober, so
Nice,
it's hard to...
Nice.
I'm joking, of course.
Obviously, he's joking.
I didn't see that. Was it? It was a...
I think that was fight night, so yeah, it was a...
That was Mark and James.
Oh, was it? Oh, no, you're right. That was Mark and James. I watched that
Dunno.
one from Canada. I missed this one. King 2, I have no
But
idea.
never give up is absolutely right.
True
And I have won a tournament from having one big blind in my life. And you will too if you play enough tournaments. And I think that so many times that you see people get down to a few chips and they just chuck them in. You need to keep making good decisions. That's all I can say. You need to keep thinking, is this the best chance for me to invest my last few chips? How many hands have I got before the blind comes? What's the likelihood of me getting a big hand? Just keep thinking, you know, constructive thoughts. Don't think, this is over for me and chuck chips in. But yeah, it can definitely happen. You can definitely turn it around.
I think that is the temptation, and I've done that myself. And recently, the last game that I played, the last time that I played, actually, I played in a tournament, and I won it, which was great, fantastic. And then the next game I played, I went straight into right after that, and I ended up short-stacked about halfway through the game, and there were still lots of players left, and I just kind of went, well, then obviously that's it for me. And I completely busted out, which was ridiculous, because I could have, as, you know, this guy's saying here, and as you've said, and as I've seen myself, come back. You never know.
Everybody knows, well, not everybody knows. You must have heard the Jack Strauss story, or somebody must have said it. Yeah. It's worth telling again. It's such a good story. He's in the World Series, 1970 something, and he pushes his chips in. He's bluffing. He gets called. He loses the hand. And he gets up, and the dealer points out that he's got a $500 chip underneath his napkin, I believe, on the table.
Just I think wedged in between the wood and the base or something.
So he's still in the tournament, and he went on to win it. And I think that's where Chip in the Chair started. But yeah, it will happen to you if you keep playing poker, I promise. I've seen somebody come back from 80 chips to win a sit and go against the odds.
Yep.
She did it. She can testify to this.
I did it twice. I came first, and then I came second. Same thing, 80 chips. You do have to wonder, why get down to that? Because but then that's a whole other story. Really. It's something I'm working on.
It happens to everybody though, doesn't it?
I think so, and it's a great way to learn in the beginning, and it's a nice lesson for me to think, okay, and for all of you as well. Okay, I'm short stacked. Well, don't just go insane and push all in with, 7-3.
Well, the thing is to not change how you're thinking, to keep thinking clearly.
Right.
And not to get, hacked off that you've just lost a lot of chips.
Yes.
Because you can't change that. You are where you are.
Yeah. What's the best thing I can do in this situation right now with the chips that I've got?
That's all you can do.
And it's good advice for life as well.
Isn't it?
Oh, yes. Right, we have an email here from Double Top. Are we going to read it?
No.
He was less than
He
flattering.
doesn't get emails read out if he's just going to be nasty.
I know, you don't. Double Top. I'm serious, I'm not going to. He says that he was having trouble tonight playing, couldn't get in the right mindset, but he still won a sit and go. Well done.
He gets nothing from me.
Yeah, no, he was kind of rude to Nick.
I wish you all the bad luck in the world, Double Top.
There you go.
And I said I was going to be nice tonight, but I can't now.
No, not after that, no. Poor Double Top. And he says, all that work for $8, but I am a TV tart, and that's what counts. So, see, he's a TV tart. What can you expect?
Well, we all are. I've got some sympathy with you there.
Yeah, and he says, I'll be playing on Sunday in the Poker Bowl semi-final, so with the right cards and luck, I might be in the final. Keep working on your game, Karen. Maybe one day soon you'll win again. Now, see, I don't like him very much. Patronizing anyone?
I want you, Double Top, I want you to take a deep breath and hold it until you next get an email read out on the show.
Oh, that's just mean.
I've gone nuclear. I've employed the final solution.
The final solution.
The
button has been
pushed. The button's
pushed.
been pressed.
That's it.
They don't. Why can't people understand how tiny and fragile and pathetic my ego is?
We're on television. It should be obvious.
Sending compliments, you emails, sending insults. They don't.
And we will make fun of you.
That's true.
And poke fun at you forever and ever and ever after.
Yeah, and
and
draw like
because we're not childish
cartoons of you.
There you go, Double Top. Here's another one from John. John doesn't say anything rude at all.
Good.
Yeah. He says, hello, are you going to show any Omaha? Either cash, sit and go, or tournaments? No. I've recently started playing Omaha cash games.
decided.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No. And I would really appreciate any advice from you lovely experts. Wow, you said that in the plural. I'm not really an expert, although I have played one game of Omaha. This is my Omaha story.
You?
Yeah. I was playing from home in Canada, and I thought I was getting into a no-limit Texas Hold'em game, and when all the different cards came up, I thought, ooh, that's not no-limit Texas Hold'em. And at the top of the screen, it said Omaha, and I'd bought into this as a tournament, so I thought, I'm not going to just, leave. I'm going to figure out how to play it. I went immediately onto the internet, figured out some of the basic rules of Omaha, and out of, it was a 10 or 12 seat game, I came like third or fourth. I came out just under the money. I bubbled.
Touch me.
Thank you very much.
Pretty cool.
I like Omaha, but we're not going to show it on the show.
Well, we may do one day.
Okay, well, not this week then.
No, not this week. There's been talk about it in the past.
I mean,
the reason that we show No Limit Hold'em is A, it's the most exciting game, but more importantly, it's the game everybody plays. I mean, I think like 90% or something ridiculous of games on the internet are No Limit Hold'em.
Yeah.
Something like 95% are Hold'em of some kind, some crazy stats. So we kind of show the games that people are playing out there and the game that people want to play. Also, Omaha is quite a difficult game to cover at the speed that online games go, because you've got 4 cards, there's a lot more combinations to analyse and talk about. But we haven't completely ruled out showing other forms of poker. It's just that the audience is so much smaller for them.
Right. So at the moment, I mean, we are always making innovations. We started showing some heads-up tournaments. It's still, Texas Hold'em, but still, we listen.
Pop it in the suggestion box.
And we'll get right to that.
Yeah.
Okay, another email here from Pete. I have spoken. Pete says, hi, Nick and Karen. This is from Pete Donuts.
You have an increasing amount of power on the show, I've noticed.
Well, in my own mind
brain,
as well, yeah. Not really.
Good.
He says, this is not a bad beat story. Good. I'm the only one who tells those here tonight. He says, I played the $2,000 added MTT this evening, and I would appreciate your comments on my exit.
Okay.
I played very tight for the first 3 levels and picked up a few chips. With 10-2 offsuit from the big blind with a full boat, and played the following from the button: aces, 9s, king, queen, and 4s. Okay? So after 59 hands...
It's Pete's life story.
Yeah, pretty much. He's being very, not concise, but very thorough.
Yeah.
After 59 hands, which he doesn't detail, and 47 minutes of play, I find myself with the dreaded Jack-Jack.
Oh,
I was in middle position, folded to me. I had 1,625 in chips with the blinds at 5,100. Raised it to the standard 3 times the big blind. Left me with 1,325 in chips, and I got 1 caller. Next player re-raised to only 500, leaving him with 925. The remaining player and the blinds fold. Back to me with a caller and the re-raiser to act in that order.
Yeah.
Oh, the tension's building.
No, it's just that I would think that the other player has got aces or kings or maybe queens.
See, you know these things.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's not difficult. He's left himself money back. He's made the minimum re-raise.
Yeah.
It just screams that he wants a call.
Oh.
And the only time you want a call is when you've got aces, kings or queens. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not kind of super clever or anything. It's just, well, it isn't.
It's not rocket science. I just didn't get it. Okay.
No, but I'm just saying that these are the things that you get used to seeing.
Yes.
Don't smile at me in that way. sort it out afterwards. These are the things that if you play enough, you should start to pick up on, because people do the same things.
Right.
They do. And when somebody kind of makes a bet where they keep some money back,
Yeah.
and it's a situation where normally they might put all of their chips in, or they like make a minimum re-raise. Let's think about that. What's that doing? It's encouraging you to play, isn't it? Now, the only time that you'd encourage somebody to play is if you think you've got a great hand. You've already raised.
Yeah.
If I was sitting there with the jacks, I would be worried.
Okay.
Anyway.
No,
sorry,
I think you're
what
right.
happens?
Well, basically just what you've said. He says he decides to push to isolate and capture the money, wanting a heads-up coin flip.
Yeah.
The caller folds, the raiser calls in, all in for his remaining 915, and flips over ace-ace.
Yeah.
None of them improve. I had 210 chips remaining, and there was no comeback from that. He said, it's not important whether I won or lost. I just wanted some input on my thought process here, which you've just provided very nicely. He says, the table was very tight with a few loose players in awkward positions for me to make any moves, so I thought I needed to move while I still had fold equity. Cheers, and that's from Denise.
Okay, well, there's a couple of points. One is that your thought process has a flaw in it, in that what you've done is you've put him on one specific hand. Now, if I was playing that hand, like I said, I'd be worried that he had a big pair and he's trying to sucker me in. But I wouldn't assume he definitely had a big pair. That would be a strong possibility, and then I'd weigh that up against other possibilities. What you've done is you've gone, he's got ace-king. Now, you don't know that. I don't care if you're the best reader of hands or the best player in the world. Nobody knows exactly what cards somebody else has pre-flop. Not exactly. Very rare, you know, maybe once or twice you can know somebody has aces or something. But it's one of the possibilities. And the thought process you need to use is, what are the possibilities? What are the chances of each of those possibilities? And then you have to play those chances. What you shouldn't do is what you've done, which is when he's definitely got ace-king. The reason you've done that is that you want him to have ace-king, because it suits you, because you've got jacks, right?
Yeah.
Human thing to do. The other thing is, I would question your fold equity there. You said you've done it because he's used fold equity as the phrase, right? I don't think there's very much chance that he's going to put down his hand there. You're going to be playing for his chips, because he's got 900 left. You've put him in for those 900. There's something like, what was it, 500? There's something like 6, 11. There's over 11, 1200 in the pot.
Yeah.
He's very unlikely to fold anything other than a bluff. And it's very unlikely he's bluffing, because he hasn't raised enough to make it a significant move. So I think there are some holes in your thought process there, and some things that you can change the way you look at. I'm not saying that I would definitely have folded the jacks, by the way. I'm trying to allow you to get into the thought processes you need. There's a good chance I would have folded the jacks, but it's easy for me to be wise after the event. The important thing is that you understand you can't put people on one specific hand. That betting pattern is a tell a lot of the times, and you probably didn't have any fold equity. 3 key learning points. Good.
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 Lovely.
Right. Well, there you go. And just someone's comment on the whole coffee housing thing.
Yeah.
This is Kim. She says, I think casinos are just paranoid about unfair practices, and when general chat turns into coaching or collusion or discussion of a hand, they get a bit worried. So that's what her thoughts on the matter are.
I think she's right.
So there you go.
I think she's right. I mean, the thing is, if somebody's like colluding or saying something that's unethical, well, then that should be penalised. But that doesn't mean to say that you can't have any chat.
Difficult though, because we were watching an old copy of the World Series of Poker, because we're a bit sad. And remember, and there's the one hand.
Sad about that.
Where of course. Where someone stood up in the middle of a hand after they'd folded, but they folded in a way that made it quite obvious that they hadn't hit the flop, which made it kind of obvious what they had. So,
Right.
It's difficult.
But you see, I think it's all part of the game. Online poker and live poker are different. I think live poker, the interaction between human beings and trying to find a weakness in your opponents and them trying to find a weakness, I think it's all part of it. And your body language, what you say, how you act, I think that's all part of it.
I agree. Now, that's it for us tonight. Make sure you watch again tomorrow night for Pro Night. But we gotta go.
Oh.
Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye-bye.